Halo Infinite, Guilty Gear Strive, and of course, Apex Legends. Now the way it works is players and teams, they come out, they play in our open qualifiers, and the best of the best make it into Series E. Now, what does that mean for them? Well, players will sign a contract, they get sponsored by one of our partner brands, they get a monthly salary, and they get to compete weekly for points and prize money. Now, if you and your friends want to get in on the fun, head over to matcherino.com/ESA to sign up. And if you have any further questions on how to become a future Series E Pro, esportsarena.com has you covered. You can also use !sign up in Twitch chat. That will get you the link that you need to sign up for Series E. Now, of course, turning our attention to tonight, new season, lot to talk about there. T-Squared and I, as well as our casters last night, were breaking things down after each game, talking about how the new changes are affecting the meta, whether it's champion compositions, weapon selection. We played on King's Canyon last night. That had a lot to do with some of the interesting plays that we saw. We won't be on KC here tonight. Back to World's Edge and Storm Point here for Pro Night, but it is going to be a lot of fun. Now, before we jump into our games, we got a special game here to play. At the top, we're resurrecting an old, fun one. It's called Deal or Steal. Let's bring up the rules for you all at home so you know how it works. I have got 20 crates to start the game. My contestant who is joining me here today will pick one to set aside at the start of the game. We will then go through multiple different rounds, knocking cases off the board, slicing prices off of the board until we get down to the end. Now, at the end of each round, I will offer my contestant a deal. They can either take that deal and take the prize I offer home, or they can elect to steal and keep playing the game. If we get to the end of all 3 rounds and my contestant has not accepted any of my deals, we will crack open their crate and they will get what's inside. But let's welcome in my guest here today. Of course, it is Mike and Ike week, so we couldn't have anybody but one of our Mike and Ike players, Mar, coming in today off of that second place finish just last night, looking to do much the same here today. Mar, how we doing?
Good. How's it going?
It's going great. Excited to have you on the show. Ready to play. Got some great prizes for you here today. So let's bring the board up for you here so you can see what is at stake here today. 20 awesome prizes up there. We got some Series E swag, some stuff from our partners, Apex coins, even some brand new Razer headsets, and a brand new Vizio flat screen TV. So that is all that is on the line here for today. 20 crates on the left side of your screen. What is your lucky number in there, Mar?
Number 3.
He says number 3. Okay, so we're going to set aside number 3 here at the start. We're going to hold on to that one for you here, Mar. We'll mark that on the screen. Number 3, we will hang on to. Now, round number 1, we got to open 9 crates and slash some prizes off the board. So let's just start going one by one. Where are we going first?
Number 10.
Number 10. Okay, let's see. Right in the double digits to kick things off inside of crate number 10. We have got one of those 2 Razer Wireless Black Shark V2 Pro headsets. That one's going to sting a little bit, one of those purple tier prizes, but there's still another one on the board, so all is not lost.
11.
11, okay. Let's keep it rolling in the double digits. Hopefully not another Razer headset here. We're looking for maybe a Series E dad hat, some Mike and I in there, and it's one of the Series E dad hats, one of those white tier prizes. Perfect shot there with our second crate.
Let's jump to 20.
Let's do it. Right to number 20. Down to that bottom right-hand corner. What do we have inside crate number 20? It's 2,150 Apex coins. Still a couple of those options still on the table, though.
All right. Let's jump to 17.
17. Keeping those single digits on the table for now. So down to the bottom left-hand side. Inside of crate number 17, we've got a $50 Walmart gift card. Could buy you a lot of Mike and Ike.
Okay. I'm reading chat. Someone said they'd pick 7. Let's go with 7.
Okay, hopefully chat has not betrayed Mar here. Chat has
They gotta
a
let me- yeah,
shaky
don't let me down.
history with their crate choices. Let's find out, though. Crate number 7 has got an Esports Arena mystery box. There's 2 of those on the board, so that is A-okay to knock off here early.
Let's try 9.
Number 9, okay. Inside of crate number 9, we've really hit that third row hard here in round number 1, and it's got a Series E jersey of your choice. But the great thing is, you're already repping one here today. I can see you got it on.
Yep.
So that's okay. Yes, sir.
Son.
Yes, sir. If you're an
Mike and
FGC fan, you saw a very similar jersey on the stage at EVO late Sunday night. Our good friend Tempest making it into top 8 there, representing Mike and Ike. 3 more to go this round. Mar, what's next?
Let's take out the whole bottom row.
Okay. Start with 18?
Yep. Yep.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Right to number 18 here. Inside of that one, fingers crossed, white to your prize. Yes, sir. Another Series E dad hat in there. We're finishing really strong here. We had a shaky start, but you really kind of caught your stride here, Mar. So let's do 19. Yeah?
Yep.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's wipe out that entire bottom row. Crate number 19. Inside is hiding a Nerf Elite 2.0 blaster. Okay, so another white tier prize off the table. 1 more crate for round number 1, then I will have a deal for you, Mar.
Let's take out another row. Let's take out 12.
Okay, number 12. Let's do it. Row 3 says good night here in round 1, and the final crate of this round is the other
way, man.
Razer Wireless Black Shark V2 Pro headset.
Right.
Okay. We started rough, we ended kind of rough, but there was a lot of good there in the middle, Mar. And that Vizio flat panel still on the table. A $50 Walmart gift card, another Esports Arena mystery box, plenty of Apex coins. So there's still a lot of good stuff still available for you here today. My first deal for you here, start of the new season. Everybody's got to get the new battle pass. There's some new skins available, so I'd love to help you get some of that awesome new content here for season 14. So I'm going to offer you 2,150 Apex coins. Are you thinking deal, or are you saying steal? Do you want to keep playing?
Steal. Keep going.
Okay, not a moment of hesitation there.
No.
My man's got ice in his veins. He says steal. He wants to keep playing. Round number 2, we now need to take 6 crates off the board. Where are we starting?
Let's go with 1.
Okay, we avoided that whole top row all of round 1. Let's see if it pays off here. Crate number 1 has got the Nerf Ultra Blaster, another white tier prize off the table. That's a great start to round 2.
Let's take out 13.
Ooh, okay. Is 13 a lucky or unlucky selection
Unlucky.
here today? Let's find out. Inside of crate 13 is a Tyson t-shirt, another white tier
don't want
prize
that.
off
Yeah.
the board. Yeah. We are Mike and Ike fans through and through, all right? Tyson, Z Davis, get out of here. It's not your week. It's not your time.
All right. Let's go with 14 too.
Okay, let's do it. Number 14, attacking that 4th row here in round number 2. Inside of this crate is a box of Mike and Ike Megamix, which I think you've already got some. You're chilling on the Mike and
Yeah.
Ikes. We're doing good. Okay,
All right.
3 more to go this round.
Yep. Getting anxious now.
You starting to sweat a little bit?
Yeah. I want that TV, man.
I hear you.
Let's try 15. Keep in that same row.
15, okay. Hey, it has paid off pretty well so far. Let's see if it continues that kind of luck. Crate number 15 has got 6,700 Apex points. That one's going to sting. That one's going to sting a little bit.
It's not the TV, though.
No, it is not the TV. The Vizio's still on the board.
Take out 4.
Number 4. Okay, back to that top row. Crate number 1 paid off. We started round 2 with it. Let's see if crate 4 does much the same. It's got the other Esports Arena mystery box. T-Squared, a big fan of that prize. He allegedly got some, Tyler CEO gamer bathwater in there. I can neither confirm nor deny said rumors, but he's a big fan.
Nice.
Okay, last one of the round.
Take out 16.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get all those bottom rows out of the way. Crate number 16 to end round 2. Let's end it on a high note. It is a $50 Walmart gift card. Not great, but it's not the TV, so that is still a W. Okay. That round, pretty dang good. But I'm in an interesting position here. Got a couple of prizes off the table here, but I'm going to offer you one anyway, since that Vizio TV is still on the table. It's hiding inside of one of those 5 remaining crates, but I've got an Esports Arena mystery box for you here right now. Do you want to take it and run, or are you still hunting for that TV?
How many do I have to knock out next round?
So next round, you will open 3 crates. I will then, if you say steal here, right? You open 3 crates, I get one more deal for you. If you don't take that deal either, we open crate number 3.
Okay, I'm gonna steal.
Okay. Mars feeling confident. I like it.
Let's keep it going.
He's carrying the momentum from last night's play here into Dealer Steal, and it is working out so far. A couple of missteps early on, but I think overall it's been really good. So number 2, number 5, number 6, number 8, 3 have got to go.
Let's take out 2 first.
Okay. Okay, the last remaining available crate there in the top row. Of course, 3 set aside at the start of our game. Crate number 2 has got 2150 Apex coins. Okay. That's good. So, just to take stock here, there's an Intel sweatshirt, an Esports Arena jersey, a box of Mike and Ike's, and a TV inside of those last 4 crates, 5, 6, 8. What's next?
Let's take out 8. It's never been a lucky number for me.
Okay, okay, let's hope. It's a lucky pull here.
Not the TV,
Inside a
not
crate.
the TV.
It is the Series E jersey of your choice, and Mar is still alive on the hunt for that Vizio TV. Okay. Mar, you're in a very interesting position here. I want to ask you before we open the next crate, do you think the TV's in 3? Do you think you just called your shot from the beginning?
I think it's either in 3 or 5.
Okay, so we're opening 6 is what you're telling me.
Yep, let's go for it.
Let's do it. Crate number 6. Inside of that one is hopefully not a TV. It is the Intel jacket. Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right.
Dang, we took a break from Dealer Steal for a while. We came back with a banger. So, now you put me in the toughest of positions here. There is either Mike and Ike's in crate number 3 or a TV. My deal for you here, I'm going to stick in the middle, 6,700 Apex coins. Do you want to take the coins and run? That's a lot of, that's a lot of Apex packs, maybe another heirloom,
Yep.
Or
No, I'm feeling lucky. Let's steal. Let's
you're
go
feeling
for it.
okay. Mar wants to see what's inside crate number 3. No hesitation once again. I tried to entice you a little bit, but Mar wasn't going to take it. So we're We're at the end of our game. Mike and Ike's or a TV inside of crate number 3. Let's find out what is inside here. Going the distance, Mar got the Mike and Ike's. Oh, Mar. You know.
Could I have switched crates at the end? I wanted to switch.
Unfortunately, that is not a part of the rules. And let's be clear, it's not like Mar is not a Mike and Ike fan. He's repping the jersey. The problem is I think Mar is set on Mike and Ike. He just got a package in the mail. He's got plenty. You know, he's trying to watch his sugar intake. And I respect it. I respect your confidence to go the distance there, Mar. I'm sorry that it didn't work out.
3 and 5 are my lucky numbers. That's unfortunate. I went with the wrong one.
That's okay. That's okay. You played a hell of a game. I appreciate it. Before I let you go, of course, you're playing tonight. I got to ask you while I have you, what happened last night? It was really one of the best performances we've seen from you guys since the start of qualifiers. What was feeling good? Is it the new meta? Just a good day? Are you guys kind of really hitting your stride? What was going on there?
Just a new meta and being able to play aggressively while having the chance to recover. I think Newcastle and Maggie really changed the game.
Okay. Hey, I'm looking forward to continuing to see yourself and all of these teams continue to kind of pick apart the new meta, figure things out, see how it all works. It was a blast to watch you guys last night. I wish you the best of luck tonight. I know you're representing well here for Mike and Ike Week, so looking forward to hopefully another big finish from y'all. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. We're going to get this win.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Even after missing the TV, no lack of confidence from my friend Mar there. So everybody make sure to watch and cheer them on all night long as we keep Mike and Ike Week rolling. Whew! That was a fun return to Dealer Steel, folks. Like, we hadn't done it for a while. We were on the Jeopardy train lately, but a couple of too many negative point finishes. We had to mix it up a little bit. We brought back Dealer Steel, and that was a banger. That was fun. Appreciate Mark taking the time to come and hang out with us today, and we wish him luck here tonight. Whew. I'm sweating, folks. Man, that was intense. Okay, now we turn our attention back to business. It's time. We got 6 games ahead of us here tonight, split between World's Edge and Storm Point. We got a lot of great teams coming in to compete with our partnered squads. Of course, they're all duking it out on the standings, which we'll have to take a look at here tonight because remember, the Series E partnered squads, they're not only playing for the championship here in Season 5, they're playing to hold on to their sponsorship. They're playing to get an invite back for next season. And every single week matters as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. So we're looking forward to that. We're ready to go, though, tonight. A couple of good friends of mine, Dia and T Squared, will be bringing you all the action through all 6 games. I will be here in between to check out replays, break things down, and give you guys all the info you need to know as we go throughout tonight's action. But let's kick off another night here of Series E Apex Legends.
You are the...
All right, welcome everybody.
Series E Apex Legends.
All of World's Edge explodes into chaos, and G2 round the corner, taking what is rightfully theirs.
More with our Ash player Musin involved, and it's going to quickly switch to the Peacekeeper, putting down damage quick as
that Fury starts it off with the devotion, and just so much work. May have single-handedly clutched it for Vizio, and with the last shotgun shot, does it
Let's get the games underway, man. I'm ready to go.
Welcome back to Series E Apex Legends. My name is Dia. I am joined by T Squared, and we are ready to, I want to say, try and match the hype of Dealer Steel, but T Squared, I am still suffering the repercussions of watching that happen before my eyes, and I hope Mar can recover.
Yeah, if Season 14 isn't killing your mental, well, Dealer Steel will for Mars. So, get ready because it's gonna be a tough one after that. But holy cow, what Dealer Steel, honestly. And Yeso, he's like the next Bob Barker, man. Like, this guy has the show hosting on lock, dude.
He really does. I like the call out to the Jeopardy games as well, just being like, hey guys, Get on it, right? Jeopardy's been rough recently, and from what I heard, from what I saw, the games yesterday were as well. Now, we won't be going out of Kings Canyon today, as the ASO talked about. We'll be doing 6 matches, the first 3 on World's Edge, the second one's on Storm Point, and our top 2 positions are prized. But for today, T-Squared, I'm not even so focused on the prizing. What I'm really focused on is how this new season continues to develop with now some professional teams entering Series E.
Yeah, expect a lot of aggressive play, W key, holding your stick forward, whatever that is for you, whatever your input is. We've heard people talk about this being like the season of controller because the Volt's being back on the ground instead of inside of a crate. We have the Scout that's back as well, so it's really fun to go and watch. But here's your teams. A lot of notable teams out here. You have Complexity with Monsoon, Shiny, and Retsy. I believe we have Oxygen Gaming in here as well. Sups there. That's going to be really fun to watch. Timmy Synced and Tempest going through. Start a Fight is a very solid team. Renegades coming through with Protectful, Pow, and Madness. Excited to see how they're going to be able to do as well.
I do think it's fascinating that you pointed out Sup, Sign Us Please, right? And that's a team that is really worth focusing on because in the past couple months with Timmy entering this roster, they have taken the aggression that we already know is prevalent in this season and really dialed it up a notch as Timmy has been limit testing in the IGL category, and it's pushed these 2 seasoned players, Tempest and Synced, really to their limits in terms of how well they're able to follow those very same calls and hopefully turn it into end game success. But I'm looking across at another roster that's also undergoing some, I'll say, changes in the IGL and playstyle category, and it's Los Demonios, Tech, Hakulo, and Designful. Those are 3 very mechanical and I want to say very big brain players who are hitting World's Edge first here, and I'm quite scared of them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch how Designful, who would IGL for G2, is going to be working with Tech, who's always been an IGL for his team. And we know we're in a meta right now that is a very aggressive meta, so people are going to be kind of torn in between, hey, do we set up in zone, or are we going to end up going for kills here? You know, the kills will come as you make your way over towards the end zone, and obviously you want to get that practice underneath your belt. But we're still, you know, very scout heavy, right? Bloodhound is still prevalent. Seer's going to be extremely popular. But now we're starting to see more Maggie, right? And less Gibraltar and less, you know, a lot of these legends like Caustic that are very defensive, kind of campy type of legends. And now you're going to be able to see exactly who's good at team fighting. And a lot of these teams are really skilled mechanically. So it kind of brings out some really fun, interesting end-game fights, you know, mid-game fights right from the get-go as well. Horizon's still very popular. Minor nerfs to Valkyrie and her, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I still feel like, you know, Seer, Horizon, Valk, that's still a solid team composition if you're looking for fighting. But when we talk about, you know, the ALGS championships that were literally, you know, a month ago, we were looking at 50% pick rate with the big boys, with Caustic and Gibraltar. So we're in an exciting time now, and there's definitely a lot of changes. And are we going to see some Vantage? Not quite sure yet.
I'm really hoping that we do. I've heard some really good things about the integration into professional play, and of course I want to say ways that I think just on paper this legend can work, take a step up when you consider that all 3 of your players should be on the same page. If you can fry one person quickly, you've already got a team fight that's going your way. That is, of course, on paper, so I'm curious, much like you, to see how things turn out. One of the other things I'm curious about, we were calling out squads earlier. I want to shout out Intel, one of our partnered squads. They are not running with their standard roster today. Instead, we've got some Series E staff members on board holding up the Intel banner, so I'm excited to see how they do.
Talk about freelo. Are you kidding me? Those guys are going to get crushed.
Maybe they're really good. I haven't seen Spirits play. We'll check in with them a little bit later on, assuming that they are still on World's Edge. But a team that we're expecting to be there for a while, Mike and Ike, do end up dropping typically in Thermal. They're going to be doing just that. Evidently uncontested in our first game of the day. The same not so for CLG as Harvester is lit up.
They're really good at fighting at Harvester, though, so with a team fighting composition, I'm excited to see how this one ends up going. It's all about controlling the middle over towards Harvester, and they've already got that on lock. So getting good loot in terms of the armors, already pushing out a team, and yeah, that's what you expect from a team that would 50-50 against XSET consistently. They are so seasoned in that type of situation that they are going to bully their way through that. And now Excedrin they're going to be getting into a little bit of a skirmish of their own. You can see enemy is trying to survive as long as possible. Nice job avoiding that Arc Star, which we do have some Arc Star nerfs, so that's a little bit of a nerf to Horizon itself as well because of how popular it is just to carry a bunch of those around. But Excedrin's not in a situation that they really want to be in, right? When you look at the way that they're trapped inside of this building, that's not the ideal situation. You want to have people that are kind of unpredictable in the way that they're going to approach the situation. You only have a couple of doors that you can peek through, and that's why Kenshi Lee is going to immediately get out of there and take an off angle. I like that play, but that makes you susceptible to getting flanked yourself.
Now, we'll say with enemy running low on both ammunition and HP, this flank is going to have to pay off sooner rather than later. Enemy has been putting in work with that alternator, actually finding Flesh, able to hold off 2 separate members of the opposing team, but Excedrin are still backed into a corner. We've now got 2 bullets left on this alternator, and it's time for Uzi to make a play. The Eva ends up finding some damage, but no knocks just yet. As CLG win their fight over in Harvester, can Excedrin end up doing the same? They're still trapped inside this building, but they're playing these angles pretty well. They found 1 knock so far, and it's sign us please that they're going up against.
And this is a tough situation because whoever was Horizon may have forgot that that was the grav lift. That wasn't the ultimate that you were tossing in right there. So going through and blocking the door or whatever that was wasn't really the play. It took a lot of damage, and that opened up things for Excedrin. As soon as they saw that, they immediately made their way through. Tough break, and Sup's going to go out along as Godfire, so those 2 50-50s. Now looking for a potential fight as Renegades. You can see they're ready for a third party, right? They're already making their way along from most likely tree, and typically, you know, that choke is a very populated area in terms of where you're going to go and rotate through, and Renegades wasted no time after recognizing the situation, and the 1-2 on the 30, you know, the 30-30. I mean, that thing is really underrated. It's such a bad iron sight, but if you can get even a red dot on there or 1 or 2, you're going to be looking extremely strong, and now Renegade's going to come through and mop up what they started.
Uncontestable in the short range as well. I'm looking at what Protectful's running, and with the Volt back on the ground, I don't want to be anywhere near a controller player this season. Enemy is down for good, and Excedrin seem to be trying to wrap back around to maybe recover the banner, if anything, but at this point, I'd rather them just disengage.
The good thing is about playing on Pro Night, a lot of times these players aren't going to camp your banners. They're just going to take that KP and they're going to move on. It's almost like a respect thing where, or is it a disrespect thing where they're like, hey, you know, go grab that banner. We're not really worried about you. But they also are really good at faking, like they don't want to camp the banner, and then they come back and get you right at the last second, and they've been camping it the whole time. So there's a lot of little mini mind games that come in to playing around getting that first knock. And, you know, with the zone closing fairly fast here, and you already take the 30 or the 50-50 and you come around and get that extra KP, you're definitely playing edge already, right? So you might as well just take your time, go find a crafter, find out what the situation is going to be as you take a look at some extra fighting that's going on over towards the edge. Nerf is looking clean. The charge rifle, people are still using that thing. Petty Boss, it's season 14.
I didn't expect to see it this early or at medium range either, but Petty Boss does it pretty darn seamlessly, taking out Intel, one of the teams that we were going to be watching later on. We at least got to check in with them before they ended up leaving the World's Edge, and now with CLG hot on the heels of this squad, they're not going to be able to find any damage just yet, but remember, they've got that Maggie for the quick gap close if they do end up getting a knock.
Yeah, and that Maggie ball comes out so quick too. Just end up getting hit in the face, stunned with it, does a little bit of damage over towards your area, and then next thing you know, you're getting shotgunned in the face as you see what the demons are up to. And instead of Designful, that's actually Cody, who's another great solid pickup for this team. Watching Horizon come through, working with Tech on the fuse. It's going to be really fun to watch how they go and take their team fights. I'm not quite sure where the zone is pulling. When we see teams kind of posturing over towards Skyhook and Skyhook being inside of the zone, it makes you wonder, like, hey, is the zone going to be over here? And if you do end up having the zone pull on a pro day, you're not going to really want to take this fight. And I feel like that's one of the only reasons why Demons isn't interested in pushing this one. Like, this is a god building where Noxious is set up, and eventually Tech and crew are going to have to figure out how they want to go and try to infiltrate this building, but at this point other teams have already started rotating in, so it makes it very risky to take this fight.
Yeah, and even using something like the Valkyrie, if they did want to reposition, if they did want to get a little bit more height, and honestly, I'd rather them not, because their building isn't that bad either, but it does come at a much bigger cost when we look at, you know, what Valkyrie's nerfs have done to this legend and how that's sort of hurt the flexibility. Gas Station Gaming, though, they've ended up sitting in survey camp, believing that the zone will pull over here, and it's not a bad guess and not a bad setup either, since they've got a Loba to end up helping them out with the loot, and already have a sick G7 souped up and ready to go.
Yeah, that's an ideal situation to be in, and someone that had checked the heartbeat, it's Madness, former captain of CLG, getting ratted on, and it's kind of like this, you know, CLG special right there is just waiting to pounce on their prey, and unfortunate for Madness that it ends up happening to him. That is a very rare occurrence at this level of play, especially with Seer being in the meta. But hey, they picked a good spot to go and hide, and they're going to get rewarded with this one. This could end up being third-party city, though. This is a very popular choke when teams are rotating in.
I'm surprised Nano's playing this slow. Finally ends up using that gravity lift, but it's as the disengage has already come through. So a little bit of, I want to say, holding back on CLG's part, as you talked about, opened them up to a little bit more hurt, but has still net them 1 KP at the end of the day. Renegades seem to be able to get away through the ring, that I will say hurts a lot more now and gives us a lot more time to figure out where things are heading. However, with Pow Pow having that Valkyrie, they should be able to make up for a little bit of this deficit.
That's a tough, you know, choke to go through, and they're regretting using that skyward dive a little bit earlier, but yeah, I know that they have some choice words for the team that was ratting, right? That guaranteed madness. You know, the 30-second rule is what we call it in Apex, where you can literally say whatever you want. Well, not everything that you want, but you know what I'm saying. The trash talk is definitely there between former orgs and teammates, but Vizio, they had run this yesterday, Dia, and they're going to continue with their success that they had in the final game of our open day yesterday. We saw Blitz on the Octane. We also saw Sung rocking the Bloodhound. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do. They're posted up in the back of Climatizer, so not necessarily going to be a skyhook ending, but you have 3 different POIs right now where teams are postured up wondering if this is going to be where the end zone is going to be at.
You know, you talked about the, oh my lord, nerfs to the slows from people like the Valkyrie and the Arc Stars. That's one of the things that Bloodhound is actually really starting to find a lot of value in. Tracking is so much more valuable when you aren't able to reliably slow, and I like that we're seeing a team make use of that. Nerf making use of the Newcastle underneath seem to be doing pretty well at the same time. This fortification actually giving them a lot of value in what would normally be a much more difficult spot to play.
Forsey looks so comfortable on Newcastle too. You got to give props to these players integrating a legend that has a pretty high skill gap, and I really think that obviously you're going to see Maggie come through and try to counter a lot of these things with the wrecking ball. You already saw the Q going down and some shots trying to take down that fortified wall, because that wall will literally stay there forever. So it's got to take some sort of, you know, posturing to kind of get after it over time, because you don't want teams to just set up and feel so comfortable. At the same time, you're kind of like, all right, go for it. Waste all your ammo, waste a lot of your resources, because we know in a situation like this, resources end up very limited because how fast you have to rotate. So either way, Nerf picking up some pretty, you know, easy kills along the rotation, plus picking up an endgame spot. Definitely got to keep our eye on them going forward.
Oh, McLovin getting taken down. This should be all right for Noxious. I don't expect him to be pushed in survey camp, but the grenades are going to make these things a lot harder, as Paps does have to relocate. We've still got a fuse on the hunt. Noxious are playing this slow, and it seems like they're going to be able to get the res off, as we predicted earlier. But even still, that peak does cost you. You mentioned those resources. It's not just ammunition. It's not just the actual shield power level, but it's also shield cells, batteries, Phoenix kits that you just don't have access to.
Like the composition that Tyson is bringing to the table. I mean, you got the rotation in terms of being able to gather information with crypto, but you don't have the Valkyrie, so you have to play this very disciplined and very smart. Not an easy composition to go and run. You have to be very well-rounded in terms of your gameplay. You have to be smart with the way that you get into your drone. You have to have a lot of zone knowledge in terms of where you want to go and set up. But surprise, surprise, the zone's now over towards survey. So now all these teams that set up over here are wondering, hey, what do we do now that we have about 4 or 5 of us that thought the zone was going on over here?
I mean, especially with the fact that the train line is in, we know that Tyson is already set up there and ready to farm you out if you don't make the correct call at this very moment. With Renegades playing as a two-man, they're not the only squad that's going to be doing this. 15 left, but a whole lot less players than you would otherwise expect, as Who, sitting in Climatizer, still comfortable for now, are taking a lot of chunk damage themselves and need to find a better position to play for the endgame.
Gonna pop a couple of cells, and again, resources very limited, right? That's, you know, a good 30% of what you had just by going out and peeking. So you get in the situation where you want to go out there and establish some sort of control of your area, but at the same time, you end up running really low on what you have. So it's a very difficult situation to be in, because if you show signs of weakness by not showing a presence, people are going to assume that you're low on cells. They're going to think that you also, you know, don't have a very good shot. That's just how it is, because these players are so darn talented that they're going to press any type of advantage that they could have, as MJ is going to go and use that Newcastle wall. And also, great job of checking the surrounding areas. The Maggie ball is not going to connect. Another ball is going to come through. What is going on? Who's got... Are there 20 Maggies just in this hallway?
I love the, like, almost defensive use of it as well, because Mike and I see the wrecking ball coming towards them, and they go, no, you don't. We've got one of our own. It's because this high-speed interstate on the bridge right now, but Razor, they are going to be the ones that ultimately end up backing off, making sure that they stay safe in their own really nice position right in between Epicenter and Climatizer.
It's a popular spot for this zone to go and pull. If it does end up pulling here, you're going to be in such a great position if you're Razor, but you also don't have that hard of a rotation, plus you're able to pick off any players that kind of come in the vicinity. So I like this positioning a lot from Razor. We'll see exactly where this zone is going to pull. They don't know exactly which zone this is going to be either. Typically getting zone information on zone number 4 is going to give you everything that you need to know. But right now, with the way that everyone's posted up over towards Climatizer, it makes you feel like it's going to continue to do the Apex Legends special, which is pull over towards the backhand side of where it originally did. So we'll see what happens for them as Mike and Ike, during Mike and Ike week, is Mar recovered from getting more and more Mike and Ikes. I still wouldn't be over it yet. Mar, props to you for playing. I would have thrown down my controller or my keyboard and took a game off.
Maybe he's had a handful of them. You know, they power up your game, right?
That's true.
That's the slogan. So perhaps. Although I will say that Mike and Ike are suspiciously lacking the KP for a team that, previous to the patch, was actually finding a lot of fights. Their landing over in Thermal has had them running for most of the game just to make it here. And the fact they've been able to do so with double purples and a blue isn't the worst thing in the world. But right now, with 13 squads left, they simply don't have that many points to be gambling with.
No doubt about it. Vizio, they're going to get the zone pull. We can see exactly where that's going to go over towards, and they are inside as Team ESA is posted up in great use of the walls. You can see he's also trying to use the ultimate. The Newcastle wall is going to go down. Everyone's going to fall back. We saw yesterday a lot of players running into the opposing enemy Newcastle's wall and getting stunned. PSA, that thing will mess you up.
It's really actually, you know, when we talk about slows being nerfed in Apex this season, that was the one that wasn't. And Esports Arena, while they make the best use of the castle wall for now, do ultimately have very little area to play in. Head's actually going to push out right now, see if he can find a beam with the car. Does end up finding Flush and is actually winning this fight alone. Takes down Blakeu from Razor, and now Esports Arena have, as Rampart is fond of saying, turned crap into gold.
This is such amazing plays coming out ahead. I mean, the confidence is unreal. I believe that was 2 separate teams that they were fighting throughout all of that. But to say, hey, we're not going to turtle back, there were so many different layers of strategy and just confidence in that. So laying down the Newcastle wall, we don't have time to even talk about that, but that's definitely a moment to go and look at. If you're looking how to play Newcastle, keep your eyes on Head, because this guy knows exactly what he's doing. Is the big win onto Renegades comes through in the third party on time, going on to Shiny. We'll see if Shiny is going to be able to skedaddle out of there. They are in such a prime position. It's unfortunate that the third party comes through, but hey, other teams have been waiting to take that spot as well. And Tyson's going to say, thank you. We got a crypto and that spot as well.
A great composition to play zone. The fact that Tyson were able to third-party this may just be all that they need to win the game, because now they've not only got an amazing spot, but they got the Watson, Newcastle, and Crypto to be able to defend it very effectively. Mike and Ike will still have to make their way what we believe to be further up towards the north, but as this zone finishes closing, we're going to find out really where this is going. And Mike and Ike, they've still got a long way to go. The run isn't over yet, though they are finally in the top 9.
Yeah, I like the positioning from them currently with nobody on their backhand side, keeping all the action in front of them. They have 2 walls to work with, but this is one of those spots where you have to, without a Valkyrie, worry about how you're going to rotate forward. And this is what makes this season kind of fun, Dia, is you get that, Valkyrie almost get out of jail free card where you didn't really need to know how to rotate. That's not really in the meta right now. I mean, a lot of teams can still go and use Valkyrie. I think that she's extremely strong still, but a lot of players do kind of miss that time of, hey, what happened to the moment of realization of how do we get through on our, final circles? What's going to be the way that we make our way through these chokes? And it's just really awesome to go and see that any legend is viable right now as we take a look at what Start a Fight's up to. They're postured up and possibly waiting for Rolder's interception pylon to come back in, because once that comes back up, they are going to lay down tons of fences and have a huge presence over here. Meanwhile, head back on that Newcastle looking for some more blood, and they're going to use this wall to advance even more, as that's going to be the final kill going on to CLG Nano. But ESA is in that same situation with how do they rotate, right? They do have Fury, but with the zone closing right now, do you want to take over towards the sky and get shot by a lot of players? It looks like they're just going to put pings down and start to advance forward.
And we know Vizio right above them as well, which has got to be wearing on your mental right now. Being shot through the window, Esports Arena do still find their way in. Wingman PK in the hands of Jolly Rancher Steve as he rounds the corner, finds the Loba open, not too much more, and you can play Gatekeeper to a lot of these squads. They found one right behind them. Do they actually have the time to capitalize on this? Esports Arena, by taking this fight, are risking their very positioning here, and there's still a team above them. Vizio, they are pouncing for blood. Fury gets taken down, and Vizio are left in a 1v3 situation that they easily win. One goes down, however, Sung's gonna eat the ring, and he's gonna go down. Blitz the Octane, the only one left alive, and he jumps straight into who eviscerate him, sending us to the top 5 squads.
And you still have Start a Fight sitting in the backhand side, just waiting for all these teams to make their way forward. Tyson, who took the spot where Complexity's at. That's the situation that you've been waiting for when we're talking about, hey, do we take these early game fights or do we set up inside the zone? You've been waiting all the way until the final moment of ring number 5 closing to get these kill points, and it's basically a free-for-all for who's going to be able to get those. And it's nice to see teams get rewarded with this type of zone for setting up early, because it was unpredictable. We wondered, is that going to bounce on over towards Survey? A lot of the players thought so as well, and now we're in a straight-up 3v3 with Tyson and I believe Start a Fight on the opposite side.
A nice EMP defensively used by Tyson as they were trying to find angles but were unable to safely, and now it's Start a Fight, who really have so much space. Nice shots with the G7 from Aves, have Start a Fight in a great position to win this fight, but they haven't gotten a knock just yet. Down goes the Watson ult, protecting them for just a little more, giving them so much more space to navigate in, and they're slowly but surely turning this. The experience on the Start a Fight roster is going insane right now, but Aves goes down, and now there's a numbers advantage for Tyson, who rounds the corner with that Newcastle. You play the pylon as Matt Pickett, but there's just nothing you can do. Tyson take game 1.
Tyson took Complexity's spot and then takes the dub, and you have to give them credit for that type of composition too. But the aggressive play, they've already been taken down to no shields by the scout that was coming through on Start a Fight, and then all of a sudden, once they get any type of advantage, they push that advantage, they went forward, and you thought that that fight was going to take a little bit longer because Start a Fight looked at the zone and they said, okay, they have to come to us. Well, guess what, Dia? They did come to them, and it was in a matter of seconds.
They really did. It was like an instant pull the trigger from Start a Fight. And Start a Fight was actually one of the teams that we were looking at when you were talking about rotations and how a lot of the teams lost the ability to do that during the Valkyrie meta. Start a Fight, interestingly enough, have a lot of veterans on their squad. Veterans that have been around the scene, have bounced around teams, and have now ended up on this one team. And this has actually worked out really well for them because you saw that experience in the way that they navigated getting very, very far north in a short amount of time.
And you're also seeing, again, a lot of different legend compositions, which is so exciting to go and see, right? It's not just your typical 3 legends anymore. Anything is really viable. You can also play whatever kind of fits your play style too. So whenever you're put in a situation where you feel comfortable playing on your particular legend, you're going to really excel. And granted, yeah, certain legends are stronger than others. I'm sure Pickett wishes that he could play Mirage every game like he did back in the day. But, what I have been, seeing recently, though, is, Tyson and Start a Fight, those two teams, there's no reason, or there's a reason why that they got into that final circle and had success in this game. As we take a look at the highlights, those are two teams that have been excelling throughout Series E. And another team to watch out for is this squad as well, ESA, Nerf. A lot of these teams have been excelling and just improving week after week, day after day.
They have, and it's shocking, especially when we consider this is coming on the back of a lot of roster changes as well, especially in the offseason since Champs. A lot of things have changed for all these teams, and they're succeeding despite that. One of the compositions that I wanted to call out, by the way, who actually running the Vantage, Loba, and Newcastle, one of the comps that a lot of pros were thinking might be viable. They showed us they could make top 3. Let's see if in Game 2 they can go even further. For a little more insight on that, and perhaps to set us up even better for this second game, we're going to toss this one over to Yeso to break down how Game 1 went.
Tyson hitting the W key there in the end game. They take out Start a Fight and grab a nice win there to start the day here on Pro Night in Mike and Ike week. And I think, Tom and Dia making a good point about how Start a Fight seemed comfortable in the position that they were holding in that final circle. They're able to lay down the Watson generator, try to get some fences down as well, and maybe they have a little bit of a defensible position. But Tyson, with that just accelerated push, get right on top of them and clean up the fight. Let's take a look, though, at our champion squad here in this first game. We don't have that. That's okay. We'll check those stats a little bit later, but if we do have our Mobile One high performance moment, I'd love to take a look at that. And I imagine it's probably the end game here, and yes, it is. Esports Arena fighting here with Team Vizio, and Vizio getting a lot of damage, but unfortunately, Sung getting taken out here by the zone, and all of a sudden, these teams get whittled down so quickly, and you see WHO set up behind that castle wall to just clean up these teams rotating on the edge. They're able to pretty effectively gatekeep these squads, and that's just unfortunate timing there. For Team Esports Arena, who were holding down that northernmost building in Climatizer for quite a while and getting a lot of KP, but they just get caught on the low ground here below Team Vizio, and Vizio not really missing their shots. It would have gone, honestly, a lot better for them if they hadn't gotten kind of caught by the zone here, and if WHO aren't set up right outside of that building in Climatizer. So unfortunate there for Vizio, but still a good fight from them. They clean up Team Esports Arena before WHO cleans them up. I'm curious to see if Scissors keeps picking up the Vantage here today. I do love that composition. I'm hoping to see more from it here as we continue. That's one game down, though. 2 more to go on World's Edge before we head over to Storm Point right now. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, T-Squared and Dia will check out that Mobile One leaderboard and get you ready for Game 2.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a promise.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
We're back, baby, and Series E Apex Legends Pro Night continues as we've got Game 2 lined up. And before we pop into that Game 2, it's important we check in with our all-powerful Mobile One leaderboards. Let's take a look and see who's at the top, T-Squared.
Yeah, and if you forgot who ended up winning last game, well, it was Tyson and it was Start a Fight coming through in first and second. But you got to give credit again to Tyson, the way that they were able just to break that fight into an immediate brawl, right? They were just like, all right, advantage us. And that's something that we kind of led up to along the way, was once these players get any type of advantage, they're so good at capitalizing on that. And I think it was the Watson player, I can't remember exactly who it was on Tyson, that was the first one in there. And you don't really expect a Watson player to be the first one to engage on that. You think, okay, maybe Newcastle wall forward or someone that's playing something a little bit more aggressive, but they're like, nope, zoom flying in, shots are laying down.
And one of the really impressive things about this is, you mentioned Watson, you mentioned Newcastle. They had a Crypto as well. This was another team, much like Start a Fight, that didn't have that big global mobility tool, that had to just hike it up there, do their best, and ultimately find a really nice third-party timing to take this away as well, because Complexity was fighting for this spot. This is the god spot in zones that pull up towards Climatizer, and to see Tyson be able to time that perfectly and honestly just make it there without being able to go too far using their abilities is really nice. We are looking at the leaderboards overall right now for our partnered squads, and Intel are solidly in the lead, but with last game going like it did, we could see teams like Nerf, who took them down, starting to catch up.
Oh, no doubt about it. As you take a look at the previous game right there, it's Team Tyson and Start a Fight 1 and 2, but CLG with their nice little, rat plays over towards the side, and Vizio coming through with their great plays inside of Climatizer as well. There's no reason that they wouldn't be there, because they played so well to get to that point. But it's tough because Tyson just took so many of these points off the board for the rest of these teams. And you look at a team like Mike and Ike, for example, who was scratching and clawing during Mike and Ike week. They were playing so well. There's not much that you would change in the way that they were going forward, and they only got rewarded 4 points for that. And that's just, the beauty and the curse of competitive Apex is your screen can look amazing, and you could barely be making any mistakes. You just didn't get to your rotation at the right time, or maybe just the domino effect of things that happened didn't, go in your favor. Because imagine for Team Tyson, if they didn't get gifted the work that Complexity did, getting over towards that zone, taking down a couple of teams, clearing that space for them, Tyson's going to go through and capitalize on that 10 times out of 10. So it's really interesting to watch how that domino butterfly effect that happens in Apex continues. But that's why we play 6 games, right? It's not just one game as we move into game number 2.
And that's where we could see Mike and Ike take that step up again, because remember that they had to run from literally the opposite end of the map. This is Climatizer, this is Thermal Station. They were just sprinting the whole time and still managed to get placement points, if not a whole lot of kill points for it. So, if we see the, I dare say, southern pulls that World's Edge is so famous for, I think we could definitely get some turnaround on the Mike and Ike side. And that's before we even pop over into Storm Point. The second game, of course, will be on World's Edge, and we're going to get the chance to see how all that sorts out, and hopefully in a totally different POI, as we've still got Skyhook that we can play around all of the countdown area, Thermal, and even Launch Site that we know got lit up in the early game.
And Horizon's out, Fearless is in, playing on Valkyrie for the Demons in the 13th slot. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go and pan out. And you still have a lot of the same compositions that we were seeing before, but I'm looking at Razor with Caustic and Bangalore. Is that official? We'll find out here very shortly, because that's a very interesting change. Now, the Digi-Threat is inside of the Replicator today, so you're going to be able to craft that, which is something that they're maybe considering with their composition changes, which is always something that I've wondered when that's going to happen. It's fairly rare to see players go and implement that in a tournament situation. It's typically more something that you see in the rank style, but hey, why not? Bust out the Caustic, bust out the Bangalore, 2 legends that maybe, could use some love, maybe use some buffs, maybe some nerfs, I know that Caustic players are a little upset that he's not doing as much damage as he used to.
I can hear Vicky waking up now, being like, T-squared, shut up, don't say anything about the Caustic buffs, they'll hear you. But I actually have very much enjoyed how strong this legend has felt in ranked games, not so much in competitive, during at least the initial part of this season. Excedrin, for their part, have chosen not to run that, as have most teams, but are taking this 50-50 once again up against Sign Us Please. And this time, the guns didn't fall into Camper's hands too early on, so things are looking tough for Excedrin. His enemy's already down to below 20 HP.
Yeah, and Sup had an opportunity to watch these guys play and say, you know what, we made a major mistake previously. We're not going to make that mistake again. We had all three of them trapped inside of the building, but all of a sudden, again, they are making just a very minor misstep that's costing a lot of HP. So we'll see if they can recover from this one. No med kits typically this early on, so you're going to have to syringe up. And it's a tough situation to be in with Excedrin on your case. Now, Longbow Volt, that was, I believe, the weapon that was doing so much damage.
Yeah, this is especially useful with the tracking the Volt can provide up in the air. You get a nice chunk with the longbow. You finish them off as they come down to the ground. Horizon's gravity lift, for all that it's useful, also makes you a big floating target. I think the good news for both of these squads is that, taking a look at the map, Renegades don't seem interested in third-partying this, since they've got a zone to get to.
Yeah, and the zone's going to be pulling heavily over towards the nerf side, so they're going to absolutely love the situation that they're going to be in. And typically when you see that home court advantage, you wonder where exactly nerf is going to set up. You can set up inside of the lava siphon area, or you could take one of those small buildings over towards the bridge, meeting over towards No Name. All of a sudden, you have to sit here and think, all right, this 50-50 is taking a little long, right? What happened last time? We got third-partied immediately from Renegades. I wouldn't doubt if Renegades is literally just chilling in the choke over towards Treeside.
They're not the only ones, though. Chokes abound as Who are making their way down, and Sniper's Mark actually finds one. The only vantage in the lobby right now is getting a lot of value out of being able to use these shots from the ultimate, marking people up for further damage, but it is just Scissors holding down this angle, so the rest of Who aren't going to be lighting up the range just yet, instead continuing to make that rotation down into Geyser and keeping the team on point.
And the demons, who I believe land over towards Lava Fisher, are content looting this up, taking this POI, and seeing if anyone's interested in forcing their hand. But there's a lot of great loot over there, and that building is untouched, so you don't want to leave, you know, a mag that you could have had, or some extra ammo, some extra resources. Intel is on the run, and professional Yu-Gi-Oh player, you know, definitely has professional Apex in his future. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Little does he know, if he puts his gun away, he will run a little bit faster away from the demons.
I think my only complaint about this comp as the professional Yu-Gi-Oh player isn't playing Caustic, because I would love it if we could see actual activations of trap cards with the Caustic. Oh my lord, we are finding flesh though, and unfortunately the trap card has been activated on him. Professional Yu-Gi-Oh player is downed, and Intel are going to have to play this out as a two-man. Los Demonios gathering that extra bit of delicious KP for themselves.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. Fearless coming in with the finishing move. Intel on Intel action right there as CLG's making their way over towards Team Razor, actually. So Razor catching the brunt of the wingman. And I love the changes that have happened towards the wingman. It's just a very minor nerf in terms of not being able to carry all that crazy heavy ammo that you typically would. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but now they have to deal with the setup inside, and what a great way to go and do that. Somehow, wait, okay, there's multiple Caustic traps inside, okay, but imagine if you kicked the door once and it just swung open like that. That was a little bit of a favorable pull for CLG, we'll say that.
Yeah, this is netted them a building at the moment as well, and wingman in hand. It's also worth noting that with the nerfs to it, we also did get Skull Piercer back, so I am scared of Nano in very niche situations where he's able to open up with that headshot especially and burst you down very quickly. Still looking for some extra shots out here. Isn't going to find any for the moment, but we're taking this chase a long way away, and you're opening yourself up to a lot of other teams that'll be hearing this noise.
And all of a sudden Nano's, you know, interested in chasing this down, but at the same time you have to be a little bit conservative about your ammo. So you're in a situation where you full send on these guys and you want to get the KP, and then you want to make sure that you're getting whatever primary weapon that they went and had. But once you see gray armor,
she's just getting on. They're all sharing exactly the same resources right now. Mamba, the gas still taken away at him. Has to jump out the cart. He jumps right into the lava. Mamba's gone down. Razor, I hesitate to say outplaying, but still picking up the knock in return. Nerf have noticed what's going on and gone, what on earth is happening over here? Cancel the not the Valcult, excuse me. Cancel their rotation out and decide, hey, we're going to stick around and see if we can pick up some of these kills as well, as Razor have already been eliminated, but you know there's still a squad in the area.
Just reminds me that Mamba plays a lot of caustic, so the fact that he's on Maggie, maybe for a second he thought like, oh, I could totally sit in this gas, that's gonna be absolutely fine. But I'm gonna sign that gondola with, you know, let's sign that gondola to Series E, because that gondola was OP.
It really was. Nano, unfortunately, unable to get Mamba right back inside. Instead, takes a lot of damage, but should be able to get his buddy back into the game. We'll see if they use this res beacon here, or if they find another. But Los Demonios, in the meantime, have found a squad to be looking at, even from their position on Landslide, and now chasing down FKA, who have picked up the Bloodhound this game as well.
Yeah, Bloodhound is still extremely viable. You know, it's been in the meta for quite some time, and if you're not really interested in playing a Seer, or if you're looking to take maybe skirmishes a little bit faster, Bloodhound's definitely going to be your guy. But it's at this point going to be a complete edge composition. You do have Longbow and Malone, who's going to be able to get the Valkyrie Skyward Dive into position if you want to set up. But when you have Bloodhound, and plus you have the heirloom, you just, you know, you want to throw it at people, so you might as well just stay on the edge.
Exactly. I still remember I think it was playoffs right before ALGS really truly kicked off, where TSM got the res and it was just sniped down on the Bloodhound, meleeing people in a final ring. It got you the win, and it feels pretty darn stylish, but unfortunately, not going to be in melee range of anyone just yet. We've got a few rings left to go until it becomes viable. And for the moment, who are going to be making the best use of this vantage to make sure that choke points stay clear, as you are able to ADS without the sights, and that's exactly what's keeping Scissors in the know.
A lot of damage coming in from behind. Now it's time to bust out that sniper rifle, which is connecting, but everyone being very wary of the situation. And, oh, 126! That's still going to be able to, after the armor swap, keep your life, but hurt your dignity just a little bit. That charges up the Evo shield for Scissors, and they're going to have to get on out of there temporarily. Great shots there, but unfortunately not able to get the kills that they were looking for. And that's going to be Sup off of their fairly quick rotation all the way down towards Big Mod as we jump on board with another fight that's taking place. The same composition that we saw previously. Blitz needs to be wary of his shield, so he's going to back on down, but Sung's going to get in there with the Prowler, and they're going to try to take this fight ASAP because they know the third party's coming.
Nice shots out the window as well, focusing on breaking, and the Newcastle shield doesn't quite get you the damage yet, but we know that the actual body shield is broken as Vizio continue running forward. Spectre Esports get taken out, but Vizio's fight continues in the meanwhile, though they have taken control of this building and are going to back off for just a second, knowing that they've got the KP to back them up.
Boring going to do some nice damage there, and it's also going to showcase where those players are going to be after he does take damage. And there goes a wrecking ball right down the middle of the lava siphon area. Unfortunately for Lee, running low on ammo, so these shots are going to have to connect if they want to go and find the kills. And you know who doesn't really need any ammo? That's going to be Capra, because look at the amount of 30-30 and car ammo this guy has. He's got the memo. You know what? 2 players on my team are using sniper rifle. I'm going to switch things up and snipe with this weapon instead, which saw some little bit of increase, you know, in damage with what's going on with the Skull Piercer, and also the faster reload time makes it even more viable than it was before.
I'm a really big fan of where the 30-30 is at right now. It was strong last season. We saw a lot of pros starting to pick it up, and with the buffs that have come into this weapon, I don't think that we're going to see people sleeping on it for too much longer. Already very heavily prioritized in a very long-range meta that seems to be developing right now. I know the Volt's back on the ground, but a lot of people are enjoying picking up sniper rifles in a way that they weren't before, just due to the additional damage and the fact that the G7 Scout is there to back you up as well.
Not the ideal scout scope right there with just the red dot, but what do you think of the addition of the lasers? I mean, to help with the hip fire a little bit. I mean, we've lost out on some of the barrel stabilizers for certain weapons like the R9. As was going to try to get into a phenomenal rat spot over here on top of the high ground, showcasing some extra Spider-Man moves. But I love the addition of the laser sights, especially on a weapon like the Prowler. Just helps you kind of lead where your shots are going to go.
Yeah, it's been clearly quite useful to a lot of players, especially in, I think, defining what it really is that an SMG is supposed to be about, focusing on that close range combat and making it extra deadly when you are in those ranges, as opposed to the assault rifles that sometimes could dominate those very same spaces that SMGs are supposed to be successful in. That's unlucky. We all saw it coming. That's unlucky.
Was that 112 though with the double tap? That is some impressive damage. I mean, that's some Peacekeeper type damage at the shot of an SMG.
It really is quite nice, and the Eva double tap that you called out, I mean, with this being back on the ground, the G7 benefiting from it, Eva's actually gone kind of crazy. When you don't have any cover, when you aren't playing the peak game like you do with the Peacekeeper, I see no reason why you're not running the Eva, because you can do actually more damage per second as long as you haven't got to play the sort of cat and mouse game.
Pylons on pylons on pylons. My pylon is going to be better than your pylon. It's also going to give me the charges that I need necessary to continue to add more fences. As you can see, complexity in another priority position. This is twice now that they've taken what you'd call, quote-unquote, the God spot, and we'll see this time if they end up holding on to it until the very, very final moments of this game. But CLG down a member. They lost out Mamba, who got gondola griefed, and now we'll see if they can do something about this. When you lose out on a member like that and you're already in the zone, makes it so tough, because all of a sudden all the attention is going to get drawn over towards you. And right now players may not know that you're playing as a duo. Holy shots from Sync.
Probably going to get another duo pretty soon, if not a whole squad wipe. Sign us, please. Find a moment of weakness and take full advantage of it. Res is not going to happen as Dalt ends up being full thirsted, and Ablenator is not slowing down. You got no reason to, despite the fact that he's chunked out. Sync has come to join him, and you've got a very powerful squad in Sign us, please. A lot of firepower, a lot of experience. We talked about them earlier. Now we're getting to see them shine on stage. Ablenator goes low, but the last Eva shot from Tempest claps Noxious and sends him to the gray screen.
Yeah, and you could kind of see what Sinus Please's, order of operations is in terms of how they approach these team fights. Tempest has always been someone, especially on Controller, that's going to come up and clean up a majority of these fights, right? He's very similar to almost like, like a snipe down in that type of situation where he takes his time, is waiting for the angles. Someone else has to open up those fights, and that's going to be the Ablenator, because he's just coming through and basically enabling his teammates to get free shots. So that is an amazing type of style that they're going forward with, but you have to be careful with your shields, because it's just a matter of split seconds that could end up making a 2v3, a 2v2, and then all of a sudden you lose out on that team fight. So that's a great job of just baiting and switching, staying alive, and allowing your teammates to lay down that extra damage. And you have two extremely talented players behind you. They're going to be able to do so, as we see what Fearless and Squad are up to after their squad wipe on the Team Intel team. And now they have pings going down over towards where this next zone is going to be. And that's a viable position that you can go and play, but it's not the best spot in the world.
Nice use of the Maggie Ball from Cody, as Los Demonios decided, hey, the rotation that we were on is probably going to be one where we end up getting shot from above, so we're going to make use of this extra bit of mobility real quick, get ourselves into a covered position, and then try and maybe Valk rotate in, as that would be the expectation with the composition that they have and the distance that they still have to close, especially with Vizio on this high ground. Walking it in is going to be very difficult, but they are focused by multiple teams, as Burton's actually gotten chunked down. Now we've got a Horizon Gravity Lift coming up. We've already lost one, and Vizio from this power spot could be going down. Blitz has already lost out on the ability to play the game for now, and Sung cannot pick up that res since he's playing up top for the moment. Does have that 30-30 in his hands to keep the rest of the team relatively safe on the low ground, but now he's eating shots from Demonios as well. You got the Maggie drill up here, griefing his position, and Vizio are handcuffed.
Talk about griefing your position and what you can see on the map right there. That drill just takes up so much cover, then all of a sudden you have a giant flame coming towards you. The ultimate does come up right now, so if you want to pop that Beast of the Hunt, you're going to be in a decent spot, but everyone's going to hear you heavy breathing up there. So you're going to be put in a really tough situation as a solo, but what a great job from Nano to, right on time with the rest of his teammates all fly up there, wingman in hand, and now they're going to full send it over towards this building. There goes the Horizon ultimate as well. Doesn't have time because you know who it is? It's going to be that Bloodhound up top with the shots. They haven't forgot about him quite yet, so they're going to drop down as that's going to be Sung finally getting eliminated. But hey, he did save start a fight, so that's going to be 5 gifted over to Sung.
Drawing a lot of attention to yourself now, though. That nade from Aves does find a touch of damage, but I believe that res is going to go off. Start a fight shouldn't actually know that a player was dropped, and we'll see if you can recover from this. Los Demonios, in the meantime, pulling an Esports Arena from last game as Esports Arena have ended up going down. Using this castle wall, Los Demonios are going to try their best to do them honor, as we've got this fight closing in on Lava Siphon, and there is only these small pieces of land that you can actually hold. Coexisting in this building is so difficult.
Credit to Tech for making this call, though. I mean, you talked about how the Maggie Ball was used. You kind of prefaced how they were going to use the Valkyrie rotation to come through. It's not easy with all this fighting going on to find some safe haven, and that's exactly what they were able to do. Not only that, that little sliver is going to be uncontested for quite some time as Nerf. They're not being too stoked. Oh! They see holy massive to the face. 120 there on the dot for Forsey. Now they're going to full send this one on over towards the corner. Some more massive shots coming through, and you wonder, where's the rest of the team? Well, they're getting third-partied in the back by Tyson. That sneaky, sneaky Team Tyson coming through for the second time, just waiting for their opportunity to pounce on the God spot.
We got a fourth party coming in as well. Mike and Ike, they got rolling earlier. Mars already picked up some kills, but now being shot in the back, they got to come up short on that fourth party. Stop in their tracks and take a reset. Robbed of the opportunity to get just that little bit more KP, and still needing to close the gap on this ring. They've now separated themselves from very little cover available to them, but that drill's starting to do work. Mar may be able to reclaim a little bit of space. Now we're not playing the crates a lot closer, and we can see Mike and Ike retake this area.
Mar's gonna have to pop a battery, but is getting hit from multiple angles and gets dropped.
No!
Tyson is playing out of their mind. They're like the masters of disguise over here. They all of a sudden take the God spot. Now they're rotating for another third party. Triple take massive, so basically 2 shotguns for Oxy. And this is only a matter of time before they full send on this. And it makes you wonder, does Joey have his own wall that he could go and put down too? As the interception pylon comes up in 3%, that's going to be huge for Tyson, who's looking for back-to-back.
I'm watching the kill feed and seeing if they could even survive until then. Los Demonios were unable to, and Exedrin are knocking at the door of Lava Siphon right now. They get a scan that reveals not a whole lot of HP on the other side, so it's going to be a team fight win for them as they claim dominance over Lava Siphon with 40 seconds left to start looking at the rest of the squads start a fight in particular who are facing off against Tyson in the distance.
There's nothing you could do right there once Seer comes through and has all of the sight lines on how much shields you have, where you're located, etc. You know, you think maybe we can bait and switch out of this situation. Zero chance. Great job of staying shoulder to shoulder, and that's what's key. When you look at how these pro players move, they are all shoulder to shoulder at every instance. They move as one unit, and that is just, you know, the style of play that you need to have. Otherwise, you get punished. I mean, early game we saw maybe teams like, you know, Sign Us Please with a little bit of a flank maneuver. You could do that extremely early on, but when you get over towards these final circles, you literally have to move as one unit. And you can see Oxy's basically next to or inside of where Joey's maneuvering. Z Davis is going to make the call to make their way over towards the bottom hand side. But at this point, you wonder if that Newcastle wall is what they need, and I don't think Joey has it right now.
I'm really worried about this spot. There's not a lot of verticality on this team, so as the zone continues to pull in, Tyson are going to be left without a way to access the fight up top. You got to imagine this is a play for second, maybe third, but I have no idea how they plan on actually playing the rest of the game out. They do end up using that EMP to weaken Excedrin for a moment, but we've still got those 4 squads left, and you have to get at least another placement point out of this move.
Yeah, the cells are being popped now as the advance is coming through on over towards where this trailer is. Godfire is doing whatever they can to stay alive in here. But you're going to have this pylon, which has been taken down. So now everybody's going to be chucking grenades inside there. You can see frags were in there. Thermites are inside. Shockingly, they're able to pull off the res. Tyson magnificently makes their way from the lava onto the ground, maybe taking over another god spot. Now Oxy's looking for the peekaboo onto the toesies over here. Is he's just going to say, you know what, I'm flushing these players, let's just move on. And there's the final player hiding in the most obvious spot. It's the middle of the open. Excedrin takes the dub. Wow, how does Tyson get into these situations? They were left for dead over towards the bottom, and I believe they milked second out of that. Excedrin taking the big dub.
Yeah, that was really wild, because I looked at that spot as well, and I guess they decided, you know what, never mind, screw that, we're going to tank the zone, we're going to come back up, and it worked out for them. That's not once, but twice that both Startifight and Tyson have been in end games, and things actually looked quite good for them both times around. Big props to Godfire as well, who after being eliminated in 20th last game, turned things around to place, I believe, what it was second or third. I really can't tell with all that chaos.
This is the gondola grief that ended up happening right here, and unfortunately, Mamba gets full sent into the lava. What could have happened for CLG? You really can only laugh at that, as Tech's going to come through and put an end to Team Intel, but we're starting to see the style of play that Tyson's bringing to the table right now, and you also are going to see what Excedrin's bringing to the table, start a fight. Consistency is the name of the game for these teams. Complexity has gotten into the god spot twice now, or very close to the god spot, and unfortunately has to deal with a lot of teams continuing to try to push for that, and sometimes getting into the best spot too early could be a little bit of a blessing and a curse, as we also see what Team Sign Us Please is up to. And again, Albinator is just so good at just disguising what he's going to do, and all of a sudden exploding into the rest of the area where his teammates can go and basically just put in some serious work. I'm going to use this rat spot though, Dia. Hiding inside the trailer in the corner, nobody saw it happening.
Right behind the chair. I actually can't believe it. And I know it's kind of cheating because we have highlights on, but the Newcastle wall helping out worst as well. I believe leaves Tyson in second, but Oxyeri is still confused up until the end. Does leave worst as being the last player to go down outside of the Excedrin win. So that is a big step up from game number 1 for Godfire.
Oh, that's a huge step up. I mean, I believe they lost the initial 50-50 that you had, like you said, in 20th place, so that's not what they were looking for. But, you know, consistency is going to be key for these teams, and we're starting to see, again, the resurgence of Watson. People forgot about, you know, Watson in a couple of different metas. We saw a lot of fighting metas, but Watson is a very aggressive legend too in her own rights, and Oxy was coming through with that massive, put in some serious work.
Yeah, people are getting used to not just the offensive use, but the defensive use and how to counter that. Things have been getting kind of crazy. We've got one more game on World's Edge. Before we pop over to that, I want to hear what Yeso thought of that last game.
It's very important to note that, in the words of our friend T Squared, Watson are fraggers now. Watson players are fraggers now. We got to see Rolders doing it there yesterday, and plenty more here so far today. Excedrin grabbing a nice victory there, coming in and cleaning up after Tyson in the truck, and they picked up a nice bit of KP. 15 kills for the squad here. Enemy leading the way on that front. Capra loading up on the damage, and Kimchi Lee loading up on the assist. So everybody contributing big time to that win. And this is an Excedrin squad that is so close to taking over first place in Series E right now. They've been trying to catch up to Intel for weeks now, and they finally might be able to do it here tonight, and that win is certainly going to do them a lot of good. Huge performance there from the squad. Let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment here for game number 2, and it was this chaotic fight, and we got third party after third party after third party here in Lava Siphon in the late game. 9 squads quickly dropped down to 4 or 5, and it was just Force confidently peaking there with the Mastiff. But the problem was Tyson slid right in behind Nerf, quickly wiped them out in this fight, and it was just so well played there. Because Nerf think they have this fight, right? Force able to get the sell off, peaks with the Mastiff, 84 damage there, another 84 there. They're able to get the knock onto one player, but the problem is Tyson set up the little bit of a flank to get in behind them. They pinch on both sides and they clean up Nerf in that one. And that's 2 good games from Tyson. Winning game number 1, they get 3rd place here in game number 2. They were sitting at the top of our Mobile One leaderboard after 1 game. They're likely still going to be there here when we get ready for game number 3. But Excedrin jumping into the conversation, start a fight, getting into another late game as well. That's going to be some more good points for them here. We'll have to keep an eye on how things shake out. But 1 more game left on World's Edge. T-Squared and Dia will have you ready for that when we return.
Series E Apex Legends returns, and surprise, surprise, for Game 3, it's still D&T Squared. We're going to be here all night, and apparently, after last game, it seems like Start a Fight and Tyson are going to be here all night, too, at least in the end games. They were rocking it up towards the last minutes of Game 2, and I want to take a look at how that impacted their leaderboard standings with our Mobile One leaderboard.
Wow, impressive performance from Team Tyson. And after this, I definitely want to take a look at the accumulative leaderboard, too, because Team Tyson hasn't been playing like this all of Season 5 here for Series Z. They've taken it to a whole nother level, and this is really special to go and watch how they've made these adjustments and have all of a sudden understood the meta and what they need to do to succeed.
It's very clearly something that has worked for them, especially coming into this season where we've seen a lot of changes. Team Tyson already seems to have had a game plan around this, which is a really interesting thing to watch. Now, Exedrin also had a really good game last time, and they are on the verge of breaking into first place among all of our partnered squads, so they're another team that we need to keep our eyes on. Despite the fact they haven't been as consistent today, this season has been a really good one for them, and if they can recover today off the back of a meta change, off the back of a season difference, it would be really fascinating to watch them take that top spot.
Well, especially when enemies slaying out like that too. I mean, the amount of kills that he's bringing to the table, Excedrin is going to be here to stay. They're definitely going to make it into the, well, don't want to jinx them quite yet. It's not mathematically in, but if they play like that, they're going to be 1,000% in the next season. And, you know, Tyson's in a situation where they're trying to fight and claw their way into it as well, because there's that cutoff and Tyson's right on the bubble. So it's nice to see teams really stepping it up when they absolutely need to. And if you're wondering, you know, what's really going to work on World's Edge right now, it seems like Watson is definitely taking over that role that Caustic previously filled.
If you aren't running Watson, this is the game to do it, right? All of our legends, they've already been locked in, and we're going to see who is adapting. Godfire, one of the squads that did make that 50-50 over at Harvester, have swapped over to Dome. They did so last game to make sure that their game was, I'm going to say, as impacted as little by RNG as possible. And it ended up working out for them. Exedrin have been landing next to Sign Us Please this entire day, however, and that doesn't seem to have changed.
And you also have potential, again, renegades coming through to try to spoil things. And it's all about what your initial guns and loot is off the rip. As we see what Renegades is up to, they're going to be trying to get stuff as fast as possible so they can go and hit that third party. Now, the problem that you run into when you go and try to third party so quickly is you suffocate yourself from the loot that you could have had for the end game. So you try to determine, hey, is it worth it to go and try to get those extra points, or are we trying to set up for something a little bit more long term? As we see another southern zone, and Dia, I don't want to say you jinxed it, but you may have jinxed it.
I was actually feeling exactly that way. I was like, T-Squared, next time I start that sentence, just remind me to not say it, because World's Edge heard me, and now we're going to be at Lava Siphon all day. The nice thing is that after this, we are transitioning over to Storm Point, so at the very least we can't get Lava Siphon there, but unfortunately, Excedrin may not make it there, as they've already lost 2 members, and enemies coming in. If anybody can clutch it up, it is Enemy. He's already taken down one, but the shotgun's on the way out, just do a little too much damage. Turns around with the 43, and the charge rifle doesn't do him any favors in the corner. 1 HP, he rounds the corner, and with a shotgun to the face, Tempest takes him out, winning Sign Us Please, their first 50-50 of the day.
And that's tough, because you feel like if you had something besides the charge rifle as that secondary, you potentially win that fight if you're Enemy. But Tempest, again, is always the last person in these team fights, and there's a reason why. You feel so comfortable when he's in that situation, because you just have a feeling, or you know that he's going to go and clutch it out. 2 great players duking it out right there for that final moment, and Tempest coming up on top. But look at early rotations. I mean, these rotations have been so fast off the rip. Yes, zone closes a little bit earlier than it would have before, but the rotations are just so impressive for a team like Who. And why not? Because of the fact that you are rocking something that you want to get over towards the end game with, as they find their mark onto Spirits, and also looking for some more action with the sniper rifles. So it looks like Team Intel going to lose out on the most valuable player on their team.
Yeah, unlucky, right? But, you know, we got to call Spirits out, because he's the one that actually lets us cast Series E. So he's doing well. He's carrying an Intel, and hopefully it'll transition a little better for them when we do pop over to Storm Point. Unfortunately, with Who being able to pick up that kill, Intel are finding themselves again at a disadvantage where they already were at 1 going into today's games. Actually having to play things out as a 2-man makes that, of course, so much harder. And Who have already found themselves in the next zone as well, but don't seem to be settling for anything just yet. Instead, pointing out what they think might be a nice god spot to play later on, and see if they can push the rotate agenda even further.
Yeah, the idea is to set up with Loba, right? You want to get into a really decent spot. You anticipate multiple teams to be in this vicinity, so there's no chance that you're going to go and take a fight. I mean, the fight at the choke was a completely different story than actually fighting inside a Lava Siphon, because you could already see there's 2 or 3 teams in this area. You have EMPs going down. teams coexisting over here, teams getting on over towards the high ground. This is about to be absolutely insane on this side of the map.
Bit of a greedy heal from Madness there, trying to stick the syringe in mid, I want to say, line of sight. Let's go with from the center of Lava Siphon is going to cost them a little bit more in the meds. They don't have the Lola to work with. Yeah, it's quite a bit from Z Davis, but unfortunately gets turned around onto Joey, who pushes up a little far without backup, and now heals are coming in on the other side. That EMP is basically negated already, and the nades are not going to change that. Down comes the generator on the top of the building to try and make things different, but it's Z Davis who turns the fight around with a Peacekeeper shot to the face. Might be able to clutch things up along with Oxy as that gravity lift takes us to soaring to new heights, and Tyson still eliminate Noxious.
Impressive pump there from Z Davis. I'm not talking about the teabag. That was really, really nice stuff from him. And he has to be one of our most individually, most improved players. He has stepped his game up so much that you love the way that he's playing right now. The confidence that he's bringing to the table is now. Sup is going to get eliminated by turns, and his turns going to be able to find that gold bag in time. No, he doesn't. So this is a very risky res without the gold bag, but it looks like they're going to be okay.
Unfortunate for Synos Plays as well, since they had just made it out of the 50-50 and still got eliminated before placement points kicked in at 17th place. They don't have access to that, so it's just the 3 KP they got, but it's better than the goose egg that they had before. CLG, however, they've got a lot bigger of an opportunity to push themselves up the standings right now, especially with the shots from Demi landing as they are. Actually, pretty big chunk outs when we consider all the damage that's being thrown in, and even a Wrecking Ball to make things a little bit more difficult thrown in by Mamba.
Yeah, and you can run this comp with so many different, styles, but playing aggressive is the name of the game right here, and that's exactly what CLG is up to. They're on the hunt right now, looking for these players. They're not even concerned about Lava Siphon right now because they know they can go and use that Wrecking Ball that was laid down for them to get that movement boost. But you have to be able to land your shots and your grenades. Mamba looks like he's on point right there, and he wants revenge after being burned by the lava in the previous game.
Bolt just looks so clean for this guy as well. Finding Flesh on the way out, he turns around, takes down Blake, who second time we've seen a takedown like that today. And Renegades, they've got to be hearing this and going, what is going on south of? We already cleared that area. Why? Why are we fighting over there? Razor must be imagining the same thing as well, because with only Box of T left as their defense, Blake, who might get back up, but unfortunately for him, the res was a little too risky, and now Razor are gone.
CLG not giving up on that fight. A little bit of a Houdini move right there where they disappeared and then they ended up coming right back. So nice job by them, not really showing their hand and realizing that, again, they could take this real estate, get the loot, and then move forward right there. And that's exactly what Apex is all about. If you're going to start a fight, you typically want to finish it so you can pick up those resources that are being left. But if we were wondering if, Renegades was going to try to make their way over towards end zone instead of third party, well, now you got the answer. They want to go and try to play this one out. They understand the situation that they need to get this experience over towards the end zone, and they've been gifted 2 southern zones, so you might as well take that and use advantage of it.
One of the things that's quite difficult, I mean, you talked about rotations earlier, is right now with Seer, if you are trying to play a little bit more for a late game, you're actually exposing yourself to a lot of risk because you don't have that ability, like say Crypto, to long range scan a beacon. You don't have the mobility with this Legend to be able to hit beacons that are right in the center of Ring, and you certainly don't have the Gibby Dome because that's not in meta right now to make things even safer. So predicting off of first and second zone read actually can get really difficult, especially if you don't have access to one of those beacons as an edge team that we know is so important.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the fact that you have to take time to scan that beacon, and not only that, Seer is very strong in these endgame type of fights, but Crypto's going to be able to do a lot of different things to counter Seer too, right? Because of the fact that EMP is going to get rid of the ultimates, it's going to get rid of a lot of these fences. Heck, it used to even destroy the interception pylon. So if you're playing Caustic and you have your barrels down, Crypto's a great way to go and counter that. But it's not easy to go and use, and it's not easy to be that darn talented. Madness with the shots, looking really strong. Tries to finger roll that grenade over through the pillars, but anyone that's ever thrown a grenade in this game knows those things are broken. The grenades don't go where they're supposed to.
Yeah, they're a bit thick, especially when going through the windows, but it doesn't stop the bolt shots, and that is what is really hyper-powering Madness right now. Has already found 2 great beams, and with a third party coming in, Renegades don't even have to blink because they, outside of Pow Pow, who's healing up right now, are very healthy. And FKA on the outside, we cannot say the same for them. Basic and Killa stacked on top of each other are at the mercy of Renegades, or at the mercy of Mike and Ike, who are running up to the fight.
I think we found out what Madness's favorite gun in Season 14 is, all right? Because that was just ridiculous control coming out from him as he's continuing to put in some serious work. The aggression from Renegades is showing 1,000 damage in round 2 is closing right now. Madness is coming into full form here in game number 3. Protectful. It's got the fences down. They have the cover. This is not an easy setup to go and hold, and Renegades is showcasing why they have been able to lock this down like the kings of the hill. They are not only controlling their floor, but the floor directly below them.
CLG have just been eviscerated by this fight as well. Madness has been doing unspeakable things to anyone who sets foot inside this building, and Renegades have been unchallenged here because of it. Super impressed with the way they're playing now, but Mike and Ike are hoping to challenge that, and with the Newcastle, they do have a shot at getting a little closer because, fortunately enough for them, the Volt can't beam you through the shield. That's the only saving grace of Mike and Ike, and now they've taken down Madness. It might just be the thing that pushes this fight in their favor. Rounding the corner, Mar gets the second knock, and Renegades we could see leaving us, even after the back of that incredible performance, because Mar is on your tail.
That's tough. Mar is on the hunt right there for sure, and they are now going to be the kings of this building as the zone does pull away, but you are desperate for these kill points, and it looks like Mar took a lot more damage than he really did. I think he did too. He's like, wait a second, I only took like 75 damage right there. My screen flashed a lot more than that, so he's going to go and back off. But that's how you take down Renegades, right? With the way that Madness is playing, you want to start taking him down first.
Fortunately able to isolate and destroy the raid boss. For now, that is, because CLG, they've managed to get the res. Who's to say that Renegades can't later on, since they did have one member escaping? Protectful now going to be eliminated by Mike and Ike, who have claimed dominance over this building, and I want to say it's good for them, because it is, but I will also say that they only have 1 minute and 30 seconds left to actually enjoy this piece, to enjoy this real estate that they've got themselves, because the ring's moving on.
Not much time with all these teams rotating in too, so that minute and 30 is going to feel like 10 seconds for these guys as we see what Cody's up to, and he's coexisting with a team over towards the no-name area. With Fearless on the roof, you feel like Tech on Fuse, they want to go and try to get that knuckle cluster inside of the window or inside of the door so they can make their way through. A lot of Watson fences are coming through. You got 2 people standing still inside of the bathroom. What's going on over here for this team? But they are going to get just demolished by Tech if they stay in this area.
Z Davis just vibing in the drone in the washroom. He's looking like me on my phone, and unfortunately, I don't have to deal with a third party coming in soon. Unfortunately for Los Demonios on the outside, they do eat a lot of damage, but it's Tyson that lose the first member. Z Davis ends up going down to Cody, and Los Demonios are able to reset, able to climb right back up and huck another grenade in here, not letting up on the pressure for even a second as they push you into a corner and are likely to take you out soon.
Tough break there for Z Davis. He put down serious damage, but he didn't realize that his teammates were taken down as well. But there is a third party in the vicinity. You can see Joey gets knocked by Rambo with the wingman, so you have to be careful of the fourth party coming in too, because Gas Station Gaming is in the area, but there's another team as well. So smart job backing off from Gas Station, realizing, all right, hey, we got our knock, but do we want to fully commit over towards this with a lot of different teams in the vicinity? And there goes Tech putting down that ultimate. Rambo's going to back down, hit the Phoenix kit. Great job resetting there. But Gas Station Gaming looked like they were interested in getting involved in that one. Sometimes it's best just to back off.
Yeah, they're also a relatively experienced team, right? They know what a team that is reset and ready to fight looks like, and Los Demonios were really good about being able to give that impression while simultaneously actually still needing to heal up. I do hope for the best for Gas Station, though, because since we've got Tyson taken out, that's going to be the first time they're not making it to the end game, and we do need somebody else to take that place. Gas Station Gaming, another very aggressive squad that could do just that for us.
Yeah, Godfire had a pretty good game in game number 2 as well, too. So don't count them out, even though they have to make this tough rotation all the way across Lava Siphon. And you wonder if you just maybe wait for your ticket for the gondola here, Dia. That's it's a free ticket. Not many things in life in Apex are free, but we'll see if they get punished for taking that one over. And there could be a couple other teams thinking the same thing.
It's what it was made for. Who? They're definitely considering those possibilities as already inside of the ring. They're the ones that have to look out for those taking the gondola over because they are on the low ground and they are the easiest to ape. They've actually already missed one squad who took it, so I'm surprised that that ended up going off without who interfering, but now that it has, there's really not much that you can do.
Not at all, and they're going to have to do the best they can to watch a lot of different entrances into this building, right? You have the windows that you could get shot through. There's the multiple doors in the area, plus the high ground that could get infiltrated in as well. So, coexisting with those teams isn't nearly as easy as it sounds, as now Godfire is in a rough spot over here. Grenades are coming down all over the place. That's why the interception pylon needs to come down. And Worst is trying to decide what is the best course of action over here without overextending. He's going to go and take a couple of shots of the opposite team's interception pylon. Also has the ultimate accelerants in the back pocket, which is always nice to go and have so you can get that ultimate back up immediately as we see what Blitz is up to. Great shots with the R301, but it's not enough. The double team comes through and he gets eliminated.
Unfortunately, steps up thinking like he's up to the task, but Demi and Nano, the dynamic duo of CLG, are a little bit too much, and now, despite the fact that they've got no health, they've got plenty of shields and are looking for their way in. Godfire from above, though, do throw a wrench into their plans as CLG are forced to take a reset here, and Vizio are on the hunt right now, getting beamed from behind. Sung goes low, but doesn't get his shields cracked just yet. Now gets to turn around onto perhaps the last remaining members of CLG. And might be the one to escort them out of the lobby.
And Sung is not letting this up. He's like, you're not hiding behind this knockdown shield. Oh, well, you got another one. I'm charging over towards you. Great movement coming through from CLG, but they go down in 11th place. And Sung with controller problems. We've all been there before if you're on the sticks. The slowest armor swap of all time in the middle of 20 different teams. But Godfire somehow, some way, is able to survive throughout all of that chaos and get up onto the high ground and the God spot. So Godfire and the God spot just seems right for them.
They were really the thing that took out CLG as well, having so much safety up in this amazing position to be able to look down at everyone else and decide who dies. We don't call it God spot for nothing. They literally are determiners of life and death up here, especially with looks like that. They might be able to do it again as well, since who are starting to push up, and underneath the bridge is Godfire territory, who, with the bow, are looking to make waves as they enter in, no pun intended. And we'll see if they are up to the task. Still need to make good use of this advantage as well. We haven't really seen a moment for this legend to shine today.
And I think that it's a matter of, just playing with a couple of different things too to find out when that moment really would be, because when you get into close range, you're not thinking sniper rifle, you're thinking more weapons like this: Wingman, Volt, Skull Piercer in the back pocket. Scissors has had this weapon throughout the entirety of this game. Is now they're gonna have to put pings down on the closest spot of the bridge for them. But when you look at that spot, if you're going over towards the high ground, there's absolutely no cover. So you kind of bully these teams off of that area, and then you're going to have to play the low ground over here. And then you have to deal with a team like Godfire, who, like you said, is just determining who they realistically want to focus. And as long as they don't get, say, Valkyrie Skyward dived onto or just kind of griefed, then they're going to be in a great spot.
Newcastle walls are going to be everything in this endgame. It already is for Godfire, but for a team like Nerf, who really just have Force and Turrets against the world, already using yours and opening you up to fire from the back, that's a death sentence, pure and simple. Los Demonios have ended up really capitalizing on that, and as they rock on up to this final ring, we've got 7 squads left, and we're about to see a whole lot of them drop.
And this is Fearless when he's at his best, right? He's got the high ground. He has a perfect position for his team to go and shoot down and hit shots on people that aren't looking at you. And Fearless, when he gets those opportunities, he doesn't miss. But Tech says, you know what? I'm just going to full send it to a complete team down below me. I'm not Fearless. You got this, man. You can handle it yourself.
Just got a YOLO'd it, didn't he? Walked down
I think
there,
he thought they were
popped
in the zone, or just a giant gust of wind took him down there.
I have no idea. Decoding those moments sometimes, I will say, can get a little complicated, but who have managed to find their own spot in the Matrix? Because check it out, we were wondering whether they'd be able to get inside, what part of the bridge they'd end up playing. They found a singular supply box to be able to play, and it's actually gotten them into the top 6, and Godfire seemed to be unable to actually take him out from here.
You know what that was? We have Mazer moments. That was a technical difficulty, Dia.
That's a really good name for it. I hadn't heard that before, but make no mistake, I'm going to be using that. That's really good.
That was definitely a technical difficulty, but we'll see what happens with Godfire here. I mean, they don't really have to do much, right? I mean, besides win the game. It's a lot. It's not as hard as it seems, right? I mean, it's only the best teams in the world basically in this lobby, but they have such a great spot that the game just needs to come to them. There's no reason to kind of overextend, wait for this zone to close, let these teams kind of take each other out. Just try to pick up as many kill points along the way, but look at their spot compared to everybody else. They are just sitting pretty.
It's pain for a lot of teams, and it's about to be pain for Who and Los Demonios as those two just go face-to-face. Melees came out, and it's Los Demonios, of course, that did end up going down. We got, I think it was Vizio full sending it across right there, as Who have ended up eating it as well. As the ring closes in around them, the only safe space left is directly underneath Godfire. That doesn't make me feel too comfortable for Godfire, because they don't have that Gibby bubble. They can't jump out and find themselves a safe spot. It's got to be the drop down from straight above, and that's going to be seemingly pretty darn easy to take care of. We'll see if they can creep this wall in time. If they can, everything will change, but Godfire need a moment before they drop down to take out Gas Station Gaming. It's a 3v3, no cheating about it.
A big missile swarm is really all you need right here, and if he could just kind of queue over the side and hit a big missile swarm, then they're going to be able to get a little bit of an advantage in this type of fight. So we'll see what the play is. You can see he's a little bait and switch right there, trying to get them to show their hand on what they want to do. I love the idea of playing on over towards the ledge. Now they know that nobody could go and clamor up. Maybe a Newcastle slam on top of their head too could eventually work. But there it is, the slam, and now everyone taking their angles. That's the play that you're looking for Godfire. And this is coming down to the final moments, and you want to leave it in Worst's hands, who's looking good with the Volt, and I think he can finish this one out.
Manages to clutch it up, sending Godfire to the Game 3 win, and it's a much-deserved one. Definitely the most improved squad of the day, from eliminated in 20th to a finish in first place at the end of Game 3, our final game on World's Edge. As now, we swap over to Storm Point and figure out whether they can keep that up.
Like you said, they started off not in the hottest situation. It's all about going again and brushing it off, moving forward. That's what they did. A very tough zone, especially for a lot of different teams that were looking up at Godfire saying, please don't shoot at us. Well, Godfire, they were able to pick up some decent kill points along the way too, and they're going to bump their way up on that leaderboard.
Yeah, I also want to say, we called it, right? We saw Tyson go out and said, I wonder if Gas Station Gaming, I wonder if they can be the ones to make it into the final ring, and they were able to, and they were able to take out a lot of squads on the way there as well. KP abounded for a lot of these teams as we take a look back at how Game 3 ended up sorting out, unfortunately, with a quick elimination on Exedrin. An unlucky peek and a shotgun to the face took him out.
Yeah, and, you know, again, props to Tempest for being able to clean up that fight. Also, Z Davis popping off right here was really impressive for Tyson. I'm interested to see what everything's going to stand in terms of how many points they were able to get, because I think they had 40 points after the first 2 games, which is phenomenal. That's, you know, just chef's kiss for what you're looking for on your pro day, especially with this type of lobby. So like the way that Tyson's played, like the way that Godfire was able to bounce back, like the way that Renegades was able to pop off in their moments over towards Lava Siphon too. CLG showed their confidence pushing onto Team Razor right here too. But Renegades was a perfect example of just how tough this game really can be, because Madness is playing out of his absolute mind right here. And again, sometimes there's nothing you can do. Just look at the tracking with the Volt. Every little decision seemed to be on point for them, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got Mike and Ike pushing through and ruining your hopes and dreams.
I mean, this was a really difficult play for them as well, because as we talked about, you isolate and destroy, you take out Madness, and the rest of the Renegade squad simply wasn't able to tango anymore. It's already a 2v3, and Mike and Ike have been playing really well. They played really well yesterday, and to see them take their step up in Game 3 was also a big breath of fresh air for a squad that, while they had made it a really far distance in Game 1, hadn't been able to replicate that success in their second game. But now that we're going on over to Storm Point, we'll see if that feels more comfortable for them or not.
Yeah, and Storm Point's going to play out completely differently in terms of legend picks too. So I'm excited to see what everyone's kind of feeling for the new season, the way that the zone's moving, the weapon changes, and which legends they're going to bring. I'm expecting probably some more Newcastle going forward, Dia. I think that we're seeing Newcastle become almost a staple, and Gibraltar, he's out of there.
Right, long gone are the days of that meta. Now, I will say, we don't just have the big braid of T-Squared here on the casting desk, we've also got one on the analyst desk. So, I want to hear what Yeso thinks is going to happen as we pop over into Storm Point next game.
Yes, slightly smaller brained Yeso here in the studio, and we get to see Godfire there with a nice win and a huge bounce back. As Dia pointed out, going out in 20th in game number 1, they follow it up with second and first place finishes, and they pick up 15 kills for themselves in this one. They execute well on that high ground in the late game, and Worst just could not miss in that last fight. Racks up over 2,700 damage in that one. So a huge performance there from Godfire, and it's very specifically important to note this game 3 going to be a big mover on that leaderboard. For the first time today, Tyson doesn't make it into the top 3. Start a fight, doesn't make it to the top 5. Excedrin, they win in game 2. They fall out in 20th place in this one. So big changes on that leaderboard. Can't wait to see how things have shaken out on that front when we go back to T-Squared and Dia here in just a little bit. But before we do that, let's look at our Mobile One high performance moment here for our final game on World's Edge for the day, and I believe it is this final push from Godfire. They play it patiently, they drop down to that cliff, and then they're just ready to go. Newcastle wall down to establish a little bit of friendly ground for the team, and then it's just worse with this Volt. Hits the reload and hits all of his shots here, chasing down Rambo there, and just good cleanup from the side of Godfire. One final look at here. They set up the fences too to make sure that they can't get pushed up towards on that high ground. And they kind of recognize Worst is there a little too late. Is untouched for so long in that fight until it's finally just the 1v1 with themselves and Rambo, and Worst takes care of business. Probably not happy that they weren't able to secure a win in game number 2, but they made up for it here and picked up some great points. So curious to see how far they've jumped up in the standings when we check out that Mobile One leaderboard here in just a little bit. Before we do so, though, let's talk a little bit about something new we're doing at Esports Arena locations all across the country. It's called PvE. Now, we know some of you folks, you like to compete in these long tournaments. You want to really kind of dig into these events, but some folks want to compete in esports in a little bit more bite-sized pieces. Well, PvE offers just that. You can go out to your local esports arena today, use exclamation point locations in Twitch chat to find one near you right now. You go out, you purchase tokens, and then you can enter in multiple different leaderboards that have different games and modes, and each has their own cash prize pool on the line. Competition changes every single week. We're bringing in new games, new modes, and more. You can play things like Aim Labs, Valorant, Guilty Gear Strive, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Home Run Derby, Mario Kart, and more. So check back in every single week. We have got thousands of dollars in prizing every week. So head out to your local esports arena today and compete. And the nice thing is you can go in earlier in the week, put up your best scores. You can keep tabs on those leaderboards on our 24/7 live streams over on YouTube. So if your score falls down that leaderboard a little bit, you can head back in on the weekend and compete once again. So go out to your local esports arena, purchase some tokens, put up your best scores like our friend Fizzy did in Studio White just now. So that's going to do it for the first half today. World's Edge is done. It's now time to open the book on Stormpoint here for today. So after this quick break, Dia and T-Square will get you ready for all the action.
Three games on World's Edge, 3 games on Stormpoint. That's the promise here at Series E, especially on Pro Night, since the one that we're going to be following up here. But before we pop over to Stormpoint, I want to see how things are shaken out in our Mobile 1 leaderboards, where Tyson are in the lead.
Yeah, they got 4 points in the last game, so that's kind of small fries compared to what their small nuggets, I guess you could say, for what they had beforehand. And props to Team Intel for the 1 point coming up. Can we just give a round at
Yes.
Team Intel, man?
God, honestly, big props, because these guys are all subbing in. They are coming in a totally new meta against some of the best teams in North America. And it's been a rough day, but they have kept at it. Now, another team that has, of course, earned a lot of praise from us for keeping at it has been Godfire. They're sitting in second, just 4 points behind Tyson. And as we swap over here, one of the things that Godfire has done really well is be able to identify good places geographically to play on the map. But in Stormpoint, that does get a lot harder. Things are a lot more difficult to predict in terms of where the zone goes and what the actual best spots to play it from are here.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how many Valkyries are we going to see, because this has been kind of the crutch in terms of rotating, and without, having that in their back pocket, our team's going to be able to rotate without being able to fly across such a large map, right? And with the changes to Valkyrie, with the 25% less height that you're going to be getting on your Skyward Dive, you're not going to be able to pull off these crazy cross-map rotations that you used to see. So a lot of different layers coming in here. But if Valkyrie was, to be picked more, on Stormpoint than in World's Edge, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Shout out to Fizzy for our stats on today, making use of the data that we've gotten from these past 3 games as well as the games yesterday. We're going to be heading over to Checkpoint, interestingly enough. So this actually will be a fascinating example of what you were just talking about, T-Squared, because Checkpoint is surrounded by these really high walls. So even if teams are picking up Valkyrie, how much value will those ults actually get you as we move into this very well protected geographical area? One of the things that we of course have to wonder is whether this is going to be something that ends up paying off, and honestly for me, whether we see things like Wraith start to be picked up as well, because those micro rotates, super valuable as well.
Yeah, or even Ashe, right? Because Wraith is super strong, but they're both kind of a legend that you think would need a little bit more love to see more play, because you're looking at, for example, Crypto, and we've seen Crypto kind of rising over here. Surprisingly, it's madness on Crypto. So again, it's just so fun to watch these amazing Slayers playing support legends.
Yeah, this is a transition that I think it's Torrent has been undergoing recently with the IGL on Crypto to get you that little bit more data, ring scans when you want it, but it does sacrifice a lot of the mobility and a lot of the frag potential in some of these late game situations. Volt again picked up though, this time by Pow Pow, and you've got to imagine that Madness has got one as well. Does mean that we will still be seeing those beams from Renegades, especially because they're already in zone. They don't have to walk that far, and they're just going to be able to, well, hopefully land their shots a little bit easier than that. Down to Beast is already having a tough time, man.
That's why they call it Down Beast,
Yeah.
Just you're up and then all of a sudden you're down there. But there's so many different angles up here. MJ is going to go and play the head glitch. It's difficult to go and fight your way out of this one, and I don't think Mike and Ike's interested in letting this team get away for free. I mean, they have the high ground. They've pushed back here for a reason. They want to go and take this fight. The beauty about fighting against Bloodhound is you get scanned once, you have to wait, 25 seconds for that next scan to come up. So Mike and Ike's going to play around that as they consistently use Wiz and his wall hacks that he's getting from his passive.
That's really nice as well. Being able to land the Q has given Mike and Ike a lot of data, but with MJ still holding the high ground, you do need everyone there to be ready to take a fight, especially your Newcastle, who provides so much of the actual safety for your team in the sort of off-tank role. As MJ did pop down with Mar, no kills, no knocks, no even damage was found by Mike and Ike, and it's a good thing they're next to the ring, because otherwise I'd be starting to talk about how we need to get inside. Instead, we can set up for a while.
And MJ's going to strategically place this over towards where the enemy team would want to go and take their head glitch. So look at the amount of work that Vizio has to do to get over towards this high ground. Now, this is the only head glitch that they could basically play around, and they don't have an advantage here. So Blitz is going to have to use the Mad Maggie ball to get that speed boost on top of the speed boost that he already has if he wanted to go and stim. They're backing this team down fairly well, though. And hello, Peekaboo. Somehow, some way, 3 people look at him, and it takes that long to take him down. I've had people in pubs take me down faster than that. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm feeling. Blitz did a lot of damage before going down, and the rest of his team just doesn't seem to be able to follow it up. Instead, Mike and Ike, with the strategic retreat, I suppose, are able to turn things around off of what looked like an awful time for them.
They just baited that out so hard. They were trying to get them to overextend, and then all of a sudden, all 3 players at once focused on where Blitz was. And yeah, granted, the shots didn't connect as nearly as hard as we were anticipating, but the job is done. Not one player was eliminated or knocked on their team, and that's always key in these fights, being able to reset, and they resetted perfectly. As you're going to see, 4C going to be able to provide some extra cover for his boy Petty, as they're going to be rolling out with turns. This is an interesting strategy that we haven't really seen much before.
Actually pretty cool, honestly. I really like that innovation. I'll have to try that out when I get over to Stormpoint eventually, once we're off Kings Canyon, the pub's rotation. I am thinking how hilarious it is as well that despite the fact that Mar didn't get the Vizio TV at the start of the show, he did get the points from Vizio at the start of this game. So a nice little contrast there, right? You'll take the points, you'll take the dub.
Yeah, but I mean, you're on Team Mike and Ike. It's only fitting that you're going to get some more Mike and Ikes, dude. Like, it's the perfect way to get it going for, a series of 6 games that you have here. as Godfire has now, like you said, positioned themselves in another great spot over here. And this is the power of Newcastle and Watson all in one. And you're going to start seeing this more and more now. And the teams that originally kind of started this was 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves came through, set this meta down, and was very successful with it in the ALGS Championships. Other teams took note, and you could see why this has been almost the current meta for certain situations, especially if you love to set up early.
It's really picture perfect. Again, geographical location from this team. Godfire are using that very same meta that you discussed, but just with such a laser sharp focus on being in the best place possible. This isn't that like late scan, late rotate, 50-50 for what you think will be the god spot. This is predict off of first zone pull and just full send it there. Since you're running the Valkyrie, you do have the opportunity later on to shift things up, and Godfire have been playing so well with this. Now you will have to share space, and Exedron are one of the teams that is going to have to unfortunately sit right next to the squad that has been on fire today.
Sharing? I don't know. Ew. Yuck. I don't know about that. But look at the straight out greed and deadly play from enemy to go right for the generator. And we actually have a little bit of a server issue, which tends to happen when the new season comes out. So no big deal. We'll get a new code and get that started up very shortly.
Yeah, we're gonna check in with how these players are doing and hopefully get them reset up. I know that Exedron won't really mind having another go at being able to set that game in their favor. We are going to take a short break as we figure this out, though, so take a minute, take a breather, and we'll be right back with game number 4. We're right into the game, and the game is underway, folks. This is game number 4, where we've got 19 squads left and have dropped onto Storm Point once again. The lobby this time seems to be sans issues, so T-Squared, we should make it to the final circle this time.
You know what? Don't jinx it again, Dia.
Oh, no. We're going thermal.
No, what's great is we've gone through the motions. You know, there's great communication from the production team with the players to make sure everything is A-okay and that there are no issues from all of the teams here, except for one special request, but we don't have time to talk about that right now, as CLG has been waiting in the wings over towards this armory to bully Godfire.
Yeah, Ben also didn't have a whole lot of time to say goodbye to his team, and a Newcastle wall in here won't do you a whole lot of good. Is already round the corner. Demi finds that Nalos has already been taken down. CLG have a really nice play there, and it's just one rat who unfortunately doesn't have the RV to play with this time.
And interestingly enough, is that the same circle that we had before the restart? You can't write it up any better over here. So the teams are going to be happy to see that got set up early, that it's going to be rewarded with the same type of diligence that they had before. And the teams on the outskirts looking in, well, you have Fearless and their squad. They love playing over towards the edge, and why not? It's definitely a fighting type of composition, so they're just going to be big chilling, getting their loot on. And it's very popular as, ooh, Sup's going to be taken down by Complexity. It's very popular to go and, if you're not going to hit your rotations, to just craft the heck out of everything, right? Make sure that your armors are completely good. You have tons of bats and medkits, backpacks looking solid. And oh, we got a
Grand Theft Auto? All right,
Grand Theft Auto, like Bond type chase over here with CLG.
That is the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life, but FKA, they don't live to see the end of it. CLG, the innovators of the Trident rotation, say, no you don't, and take him out. That was really cool, T-Squared. I've never seen it before, and I'll probably never see it again.
I'm pretty sure that's something that we could just cut and use that as an Apex montage, like, you know, the highlights that they do for the new season, right? It's like, here we come, rolling through, sick fights happening on Tridents, but was that really a fight? It didn't seem like it. Just seemed like one team hunting down the other team.
Yeah, it is one of those situations where, like, you see it and you go, this would never happen in my game. It happens in a pro game. Unfortunately for Los Demonios, there's some stuff happening to them right now, and not all of it is good. James Fearless has been taken down, and Noxious are out for revenge. Their games on World's Edge didn't make them too happy. Being able to pick up a point early on will be really nice for them, as Mike and Ike committing in between the double Newcastle wall, like the double bubble in the Gibbies of old, is going to try and fight this one out close range and be able to, even with the 30-30 hip fire. They take out Nerf, and now have a great spot in the ring to boot.
That fence, the Watson fence, just stuns you so hard. It's like you just get shocked. You don't even know what hits you right there. Almost dancing in between the two shields. Pretty nicely done. But Nerf, they're out of here. On board with another partner team. It's going to be Team Razor. Also going back to something that we discussed previously before the break, is we're wondering, like, is Ashe or Wraith going to be used? And Ashe is being picked up by Noxious, and you know, want to have these fast rotations coming through, but being able to get onto high ground is extremely, extremely key. Everybody knows that in Apex, and Ashe seems to be a little bit more prevalent when we talk about World's Edge versus Stormpoint, so I'm excited to see exactly how Dalton plays this one.
Yeah, like, this access to the height that you have is just really, really good. Unfortunately for them, Noxious, coming right out of ring, have found themselves already chunked out, already low on HP, and with Spectre Esports right in front of them, the rotation down to the south may be available. Spectre, I will say, not pushing this, are giving Noxious a second chance at life, the opportunity to heal up and disengage.
I don't think they realize how in shambles the situation was, so in order to do so, Noodle's going to take on over towards the high ground and try to get some extra sight. But look at that, they've now become one with the trees. Noxious is just tree hugging, basically, and you love to see it. You know, just respect for the surroundings and all of the greenery here on Stormpoint.
If only one of them had a bow, right? They'd be just like the elves from Lord of the Rings, sliding down the hill. But with that, like we talked about, lack of aggression from Spectre, Noxious do get their chance to become little dryads and make for the hills. CLG, in the meantime, approaching from the opposite side of the map, have already had a really nice time being able to take out most of the members of Godfire. They've freed up that top
5
spot
kills?
in checkpoint for Exedgerin, and oh my god, you're right, what on earth is happening this game?
I had no idea that Mamba was popping off. Now, keep in mind, we had the first 2 minutes being played off of stream to just protect the competitive integrity to make sure that we don't have a type of restart. And apparently, before you could blink, Mamba's coming through with 800 damage, 5 kills, and 2 assists.
I guess I can kind of justify the 5 kills.
Oh
2
my, no
assists
wonder.
is really weird to me, but my lord, he just doesn't have breaks either. Flesh in ring as well. May just find a knock sooner rather than later. A syringe is going off in here, and Mamba knows exactly what's happening. There's nothing you can do to stop him, and opening the door was a mistake. It's the Grim Reaper knocking, man.
I think he just accepted it and just opened the door so he could just be like, I want to watch who's doing this, okay? I want to watch your screen, Mamba. Just show me why you have 6 kills. Apparently the dude is pissed off going into Storm Point. He's ready to go. And I like the aggressiveness coming out from CLG. We saw this before in World's Edge. They're playing another aggressive team composition. They're ready to take some fights. This is a little bit more of an open map, right? You're not going to get third-partied as much when you're over towards the edge. And it's because of the rotations with Valkyrie end up fairly seamless because you have so much cover from the trees and the greenery that you can allow to take that type of style, as we see what Dalton's up to. He's going to go and try to get the tether going. Also, throwing the nade across from where he's predicting where the Newcastle is going to be. I like this aggressive play from Noxious.
Super nice tether timing as well, just forcing out the ult and now not giving an inch here. Takes the angles along with McLovin, and Noxious end up finding a kill here just like they had previously on Los Demonios. This isn't a squad that specializes in the 3v3s. It's a squad that specializes in taking one member out before you even know what's going on.
And the 30-30 is perfect for that type of instance, especially with the minor buffs that happen to it over time. I would say major. I mean, those little changes end up making a huge difference. The fact that you can reload 2 in 1, the fact that you're able to get the Skull Piercer on there, such a great opportunity to, use this as a all-around weapon and almost not really replace the Wingman, right? We're not trying to replace any gun with any other gun, but the amount that it's being used after seeing it popularized in the ALGS, we know how kind of, what would be the right word, where just underrated. This gun was extremely underrated throughout time, and now, like you said, I don't think people are thinking that anymore, DA. Maybe a little OP.
I think that's exactly what I've been feeling, at least during the first part of the season. The uptime on it with the inherent double reload is just so ridiculous, and that's for a gun that already we saw right there did 93 damage with a headshot, and that's without the Skull Piercer that they've now added to it. So many people picking it up, even Oxy's got one, and right now in checkpoint on the high ground there's just no better space to be able to abuse the amount of damage you can lay down, especially onto white shields, with 1 shot left to take Oxy areas from blue to purple.
Yeah, and realistically, the only downfall about this is the weapon is horrible if you don't have a magazine in it, right? So to be able to get some sort of extension to go from 6 shots to 8 shots with a gray is a pretty big difference. So Oxy's going to be able to put that to use. A lot of different scopes can be used. Heck, he's even going to go try to hip fire this one as the Valkyrie Skyward Dive is going down. And players have gotten so talented at being able to use their weapons while people are skyward diving. And I was just going to say how refreshing it was not to see any charge rifles, but Paps just ruined it.
Yeah, Noxious, they're scumming their way through this game, man. Picking off one player after another. Professional Yu-Gi-Oh player from Team Intel who have been down bad all day. Now, lose another member, are forced to play another game out as a 2-man. That is, unless they can get the res. We do have 30 seconds left on this ring close, so you're going to have a lot less respawn beacons available, but the dream's always there, right? We got to keep hope alive, as Mike and Ike are certainly doing just that, holding down their spot off to the south of this ring close.
And again with the Vantage here, which is exciting to see, but also another Ashe in play. So a handful of different Legends, a handful of different play styles coming out over here. This has been a team that loves to go and set up. Scissors has been phenomenal at predicting where zones are going to be. And Vantage seems to be that type of Legend, right? Where it could be an aggressive Legend at times, no doubt about it. But you think with a sniper rifle in hand, you want to go and set up, as now we're going to see what Renegades is up to. They lose out on Pau. Madness switching off of, I believe he was playing Crypto before this, ends up going back on over to Seer.
Now that Madness is up, though, it does mean that we can't count Renegades out, right? Even if they have lost a member, if Madness is up, there's always the chance, especially with who coming in here for the third party. You can't really focus on Renegades anymore, and everybody here knows that. Noxious even are going to start taking up some space, and coexistence may be the goal here, but as Dalt draws a little bit of attention to themselves, they are going to take out Scissors in the meantime. Gravity Lift up here as well to take Dalt onto the roof, but now you realize there's a lot more than just this one squad here.
And that's unfortunate for Scissors. He was so interested in seeing what was going on. 2 or 3 seconds of not checking your surroundings, even less than that, boom, capitalized on from Noxious with this third party. Great job. Oh, didn't shut the door though. That would have been a big brain play. Thought that he had that, and then all of a sudden that player just pushes right through. So the Arc Star play ends up going out of the window, or out of the door, I guess, and Madness is going to get back into this game. Armor swaps are being put down. I loved that play. I thought for sure the door was going to get shut.
And then Madness just kicks that door in, right, and takes them out. And this is why we said you cannot count out Renegades, and evidently you cannot count out CLG as they make the Spider-Man climb up the side of Checkpoint and are actually going to be able to usurp this pylon. You've already got 2 members down, and Nano, with that wingman, is chasing you into the ring.
No.
Unfortunately, crossing the fence, he gets taken down, and Mamba's just not there yet. Mamba can't climb. It's up to Demi on this high ground, if he's even there, as Godfire end up being eliminated. Nano is full thirsted, and Exedrin are defending their height.
Forgot to put, chalk on his hands or whatever, the rock climber's choices of getting up that wall, but that was a tough situation because that was one shot away from being an extremely successful fight for them, as Start a Fight gets eliminated by some really fantastic shots from Mike and Ike. Now the Scout and Eva 8, this combo is going to be so deadly, and MJ looks like no, that's not us moving in fast forward, that's how just MJ plays, okay?
Yeah, he is insanely quick on the trigger finger with the G7, and it takes a long time to adapt to that recoil, especially if you've got the double tap, and though he doesn't have that yet, you'd be deceived. You look at that gameplay and you go, that's a few too many bullets. Tyson, however, they eat a few too many bullets. Oxy Ares being the first one to fall with a 30-30 and a PK. You've got a lot of burst damage on Joey. He can't quite make it through to this Valkyrie. Does find Flash. This is actually really going to hurt. Zone 3 does not mess around. Joey's going to go down to it. Z Davis recognizes the danger, but it's too late! And now 2 teams have bitten the dust. Tyson and Intel are out.
Go Spirits, that's all I gotta say, Spirits with the big time grief, they're sitting there wondering, what is this team doing? Spirits is here to ruin your day, alright, Tyson? You can't take first place for free on his watch.
No, you can't mess around with this guy. Vizio, they're setting up in actually a really nice spot so far, and fortunately have been able to scan things out so they know there's nobody next to them to be able to grief their game. Blitz on this Octane has actually not looked terrible today, actually making it all the way to an end game in our 3rd round. But now they've got to clear out a lot of space because you cannot be flanked from this position. It is deadly if you are.
MJ's going to lay down the wall. Look for some more shots over towards the side. As you can see in the kill feed, Spectre gets eliminated. But using these little crevices of Stormpoint are so key, right? And if you end up taking cover of one of these areas, you're going to be in a really great spot. As you can see, the advances coming in from Vizio, though, they're not going to allow it happening for too long. You do have to overextend a little bit, so Song's going to back off, Blitz is going to back off. They have to play this carefully. Look at the position that they're in, Dia. There's no reason to get a little bit overzealous and force their situation.
You talked about those crevices being so important, though, and I think that was the perfect example. Just playing on the outside, the little ridge outside that wall, ended up being enough for them to almost get a knock, and Vizio playing really safe has given them the opportunity now to go so much further in this game, since they've already got a position with a lot of cover in ring. The one thing that they don't have that I think they wish they did is a Watson to make sure that the nades don't destroy them.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see Blitz continue with this type of style on the Octane, because Octane is not really popular in the meta right now. It's been something that has lost a lot of its kind of gusto from the amount of nerfs that happen, especially with the bounce pads. So interesting to see them continue with that, and it makes you wonder, could they be successful with almost any type of composition here, because you feel like certain legends are going to be more viable, but he's making it work, and they have the best position right now in the game. Madness gets back into this one too, so Power and Protect are going to do whatever they can to protect their IGL as the fences are going to go down, and now you can see all the teams that are coexisting in this particular area. You do have one team that is not full, so I'm curious to see what team's fighting it out. As a duo, is the wall is going to go down from Blakeu.
And with Madness eliminated, the timer is ticking on Renegades, even from above. Blakeu's able to defend, but he eats that ring. He can't get out, and he ends up going down. Complexity coming in for the third party. This, you have to imagine, is going to be us saying goodbye to Renegades. 5 teams left, and a rampage shooing through them isn't doing any favors. Sung has gone down from Vizio, though, and Blitz is trading it back. It's Mike and Ike and Vizio on the other side of the map. They're going at it, and Complexity are balancing who to third party. Mike and Ike are down. We're into our top 4, but Renegades, Madness is still alive.
Somehow using those knockdown shields, as you can see, Monsoon is working his way around this Horizon Ultimate. You thought 9 was bad. Well, here goes at 8 to the Horizon Ultimate instead. And you know this man's screen, anytime you see it, he's just all over the place in terms of his awareness, making sure that every single corner is checked. PK shot's not going to connect though, so it's a little bait and switch. Immediately is going to make his way back on over to cover towards the Newcastle wall. And now we're in a situation again where there is still a duo here. So you have Vizio, you have Complexity, and then you have a duo trying to stay alive, and that's Excedrin.
This is very scary for Excedrin as well. You've got to force Vizio together with Complexity, but it's really difficult to do. Fortunately, the angles are there, and Excedrin do have a spot that's difficult to peek. You have to go all the way through the open ground in order to do it, but Sung is trying his hardest to make things difficult for Excedrin. Make sure that they're forced to commit to Complexity, and that scan is going to do wonders, revealing where Enemy and Capra are and forcing Complexity to group up.
And you can play Spoiler here right now if you're Excedrin, but you're stuck in between 2 extremely talented teams that are out for blood. What's going to be the play here for a team like Vizio that doesn't have your typical meta type of composition? Bounce pad not going to be really useful unless you want to toss it on someone's head. You know, throw a distraction bounce pad. That could work. Some grenades are coming through, and Vizio's now making the move.
Complexity are pushing up to the high ground, and you are not going to let that go. Vizio chase you down, but getting slowed up. Blitz is forced to pop the stim. The jump pad is buying him space as he exits the fight. Excedrin come in for the third party, and now Vizio have to come back around. We're into our top 2. Excedrin are looking for the win, and Capra has to peel for any of it. He gets taken down by Sung. Excedrin with the last shot find themselves the win from the impossible, the Valley of Death.
The power of the little valley right there. Excedrin putting it to work. All of a sudden, it felt like Complexity wasn't worried about the duo. They wanted to focus the trio. They were going directly over towards where Vizio was, and that didn't seem to be the best play right there. Unfortunately, they crawled out and just put down some serious damage with the PK, the timing, the resiliency, and just the patience that they had throughout that entire time. That's not easy to do as a duo trapped in between 2 really great teams.
And I think, honestly, the Bloodhound made this so difficult in the end game, as we've seen for so many squads. Back when Bloodhound was meta, getting scanned by him felt like something you had to address. It gave Vizio full information, but Complexity were just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know where this duo is. I don't know how to capitalize on it. The only thing I can see is that there's a Bloodhound on one side that has full information. They went to take him out, and it cost them their lives, but it did get Complexity, I believe, a nice third place finish. Might have been second, and that's still a heck of a lot of points for a squad that, honestly, has been having a tough time today. They have really looked good in terms of their ability to get to God's spot, but this time they didn't have it, and they still made it to third.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, Complexity has been a team that has positioned themselves phenomenally, but there's been a lot of different teams that have been trying to take their spot. One of the teams is a team in first place. Tyson has been waiting in the wings as we take a look at that awesome fight that CLG ended up having. But the way that they were able to take the map and what was given to them, and then continue to execute on what kills that they were they had in front of them. That's what Complexity has always been about, right? They've never been a team that sits in the middle and says, hey, come towards us. They've always been a team that hunts people down. Speaking of hunting people down, Mamba popping off this game.
The executioner of this lobby. And to see Mamba doing that, to see CLG having a really good game, it should push them a little bit further up in the standings. That is the big question, though. As we crested that halfway point, we're now 66% of the way through the day with 2 games left to go. And we'll see if CLG can claw their way to the top. For more on that, let's hear from Yeso.
A scrappy start to our second half here as we head over to Stormpoint and Excedrin. From the Valley of Death, as Dia said, come out. They pick up their second victory of the night, cleaning up Complexity and Vizio in that final circle. And that's definitely going to bode well for a squad who had that win in game 2 and then really didn't get anything going in game number 3. They pick up 7 kills for themselves this time around, and it is on the back of Capra and Enemy carrying the load in this game. They pick up all 7 kills between the two of them, both of them over 1,300 damage, so a big performance there. Kimchi Lee, not the greatest of games this time around, but you watch a full day of Excedrin when they're performing well. Even if Kimchi has one game like this, he's going to have 5 more that are going to look really damn good. But good job here from Capra and Enemy picking up the slack this time around, and it's a big reason why Excedrin grabbed a huge victory here. Let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment for game number 4. 2 games still remaining ahead of us, and this is how it ended. Vizio going for this push. You see Shiny there with that castle wall thrown down to try and kind of cut Vizio in half. But they turn around and respond pretty well. But it's just this wonderful timing for Excedrin to jump into the fight as Complexity gets wiped out. And now Capra and Enemy able to clean up the rest of this fight. The one knock there, Capra with a nice shot for 74, and the final 27 there right around the corner of that castle wall to clean it up. What a well-played finish there. And just the timing is so perfect. You could see on your screen on the left side, Capra and Enemy just waiting, biding their time. And then as soon as this first knock happens, they are ready to go. And Blitz, unfortunately, hits that jump pad, but I don't think it really does him a whole lot of good because coming back into this fight, has to fight the 2v1 and isn't able to do it. And unfortunately, while Sun can get one knock, Capra does not miss with the PK. And that is Excedrin with a huge, huge win. I wonder, we'll wait. I do want to look at our overall leaderboard at the end of the night. I'll hold off on calling for it, but we set it up earlier. Excedrin trying to chase down Intel. Shout outs to the Intel squad. I know they picked up a couple of KP in that game, so they're putting some points on the board, but Excedrin doing their best to take that top spot in the standings, and that win may have catapulted them into that position. We still have 2 games remaining ahead of us, so we're going to go to a quick break right now, but when we return, T Squared and Dia get you ready for Game 5.
Excedrin.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
Welcome back, folks, as we are about to hit Stormpoint for game number 5, and before we do, we've got that all-important Mobile One leaderboard to take a look at, seeing who's in the lead and who's still got to catch up.
Tyson looking as good as they were in that commercial. I mean, can we just talk about how hungry that made me? But they're tied up with Excedrin, and Vizio is right behind them. 3 partner teams looking extremely strong. CLG and Godfire, they're right behind them as well. But Godfire has been masters of positioning themselves. CLG has been the master of hunting people down.
This is a pro night. I think it's important that we remember. You talk about teams like Godfire, CLG, and Renegades that are all clumped up right there, and the fact that we have 3, not 1, not 2, 3 partnered squads on top is really big, especially at this point in the season where we're just cresting that halfway mark, and things are really looking good. Our partner teams are looking dialed in, and this swap up in the meta has allowed this latent talent that we know our partnered squads have to really shine through, as a lot of them are the first to adapt.
Yeah, and it's all about adapting. It's all about what the meta changes are going to be. I have the patch notes over towards the side because if you haven't seen these patch notes, it's like a scroll from the medieval times. That's how long this thing is. It's not a completely new game, but it's a completely new chance to test out what's going on right now in Apex Legends. So we're seeing, again, Vantage being used by people like Scissors in certain situations. We're seeing a lot of different changes in terms of what's happening, of the styles that are happening with these changes too. And a lot of that has to do with Maggie, because Maggie is being so aggressive in these situations with the ball being twice as long, twice the amount of magnets that are happening, more opportunities to go and shoot her Q over towards people too. So it's a lot of fun to go and see how these players are adapting.
Yeah, those buffs to the range of Maggie just have changed everything. We've seen teams adapt to it, and we're seeing them adapt to these lobbies as well, as we've talked about. Now, the important thing is that we are able to adapt on this side, so as we get this lobby set up, give us just a minute, and we'll be right back with the game. We're dropped onto Storm Point for game number 5 of the night, the penultimate chance for these teams to be able to put points on the board. And Excedrin, sitting tied for that first place spot, have got to be the team we're looking at to do it.
And Excedrin is probably enjoying that they don't have to 50-50 here on Storm Point too, because while they were picking up some decent kill points and did a great job on World's Edge, you want to breathe a little bit, adjust going into Storm Point, figure out what your rotations are going to be like, and not have to risk sitting there and watching the enemy team from that death screen. As we take a look at where that zone is going to pull over towards the northeastern side. It's a little bit of a switch compared to the northwestern zone that we had previously. And Vizio, they're not changing a thing. They are maybe even taking a page out of Excedrin's book and going and playing the crevices here. I don't think they're going to stay here the whole game, though.
If you had told me at the start of oh my god. Oh my god. All right, Burton. I'm sorry for poking you. If you had told me at the start of last season that we would be seeing a day where on Storm Point, Maggie Octane, and Bloodhound was a comp that was in top 3 on a pro night, I would have called you a liar. I trust you, man, but I just couldn't have followed you that far. In Esports Arena, they're equally as shocked as they chase down Vizio and go, how on earth are we not winning this fight right now?
And, you know, taking a look at the #1 team that we have here in Series E, it's Team Intel. And this is what they do. You know, Intel is like a chameleon, okay? They're going to mask themselves into any type of situation. They see one team doing well with a composition, and they take a page out of their book and copy them. Just masters at their craft.
They're playing the long game. I'm telling you, they've been sandbagging it, right? The first couple games, making the lobby underestimate them. Get ready, because Game 6, it's a 60-point banger. I guarantee it. No, nobody will escape them, not even them.
Yeah, they've been making some like side bets in the Discord, you know, completely legal side bets over here too. That's how much they've been kind of playing possum over here. Looking forward to seeing them pop off here in game number 5 as we see what Nerf is up to. And you know, Forcey's, he's not throwing down the shield quite yet. They don't need it here, Dia. They're just rolling, you know, catching the fresh air. It's a nice day out here in Storm Point. Until then.
Ooh, and all of a sudden it's a little too late. Force throws down the shield, but he's already gone. And Petty Boss, he gets lasered down as well. We're down to just 1. As you pass up, sign us, please. And they are not going to let you go.
All right, it wasn't as nice a day as we thought outside. It was actually a horrible hurricane of shots coming your way. Sign us, please. Combined with Godfire, just absolutely decimating Team Nerf.
I mean, I guess it's kind of fair, right? You are riding through the middle of the lobby on one of the loudest machines possible. The fact that there's even one member alive right now is a little shocking, but it's likely going to be remedied as both Sign Us Please and Godfire are competing for this KP. They want the 1. I'm not sure they'll be able to get it, especially Godfire, who are paying a lot of respect to the other teams that can come in and third party this. They aren't in zone just yet, and if there's one thing that we can say about Godfire is that they love being in zone.
Yeah, they have the scan onto zone number 2, and this is a composition that you want to set up. So the fact that they're looking for that KP, they bounce back, and then it looks like they're kind of posturing for the next Skyward dive. Big shots there from the scout from Retzi. Are you kidding me? Ooh. Just continuing to put in some serious work, making this weapon look like it was a medium to close range instead of a far range. Who is on the opposite end of that, and that does not feel good.
And no, pushing complexity has never felt so terrible. The nice thing is that Waves managed to get a knock right back. So it is still a 2 versus 2, but with Tyson entering the arena, things are going to get really bad really quickly. Oxy Aries managed to play on the sides of this offensive EMP that Z Davis has thrown out, and now we've got 2 different squads that Tyson could be cleaning up. They could be claiming so much KP right here. With Oxy Aries on the low ground, things are getting played a little bit slow. Has to round that corner, gets the knock on another member of Complexity, and now the cleanup has really started. Now Tyson already have gotten what they came for, and they take Complexity out of the sky!
Well, Oxy Aries is looking like John Wick out here, the way that he's just moving through and fighting multiple teams and players. Nasty, nasty plays from him. Tyson continuing to have themselves a day. You love to see it, especially considering where they stand in the accumulative leaderboard, trying to make their way into the next season of Series E. Now we're on board with Renegades. It looks like they are on the hunt over here, and this is one of the teams that I would not want to go straight up in a 3v3 with.
Especially not if Madness is a Volt. We're not on his perspective just yet, but I'm going to bet that he's got one Protectful rocking it as well with the Wingy Volt combination. Likely one of the definers of this season. They will, however, make the smart move and not chase up the zip lines, because those zip lines are a death sentence and not one that you're willing to take just yet. Spectre Esports have rolled up to the previous spot where we saw teams like Tyson come in for the third party, and they've actually found a nice bit of damage, but Tyson are set up, Tyson are ready, and Tyson are looking to capitalize on that kill as well.
Oxy's looking so clean. The movement, jump over the fence, quick little 39 to the body, and Intel ends up getting hunted down, unfortunately for them, by Protectful in the Renegade squad. We were talking about how strong they are in the 3v3, and they continue to prove that one as now Oxy's going to go and just set up for a little bit. This is just kind of a reset temporarily as a Wrecking Ball, I believe, came through. Maybe taking down the wall, or was that an actual wall from Joey that he placed in place of the other wall?
Yeah, walls on walls on walls. Unfortunately, with the pylon exposed, those walls aren't doing a whole lot of good. They've got to play the other ones. PK comes out from Gordo, but out comes another wall. Again, wall on wall on wall. Just to absolutely decimate the offense of Spectre Esports. Trying around the corner a few too many times. Yes, that was a Mirage, and yes, he's gone.
Yeah, it's the Mirage. You can't really play anything that you want in this season. Mirage is a little bit of a, sneaky pick to try to counter certain things like Seer, but in an instance where you're just getting blasted by the PK there from Joey, there's really not much you can do. Unfortunate small things like having to, take your PK out and cock it in that type of instance is going to cost you that extra half second, and they just took complete advantage of that. I mean, you're looking at some serious damage coming out up close range from that shotgun. Even though one shot was missed, it didn't really matter. They were still able to finish that one off without getting knocked. That's the most important thing in these situations. If you're going to take a fight, you need to do it cleanly. Don't get knocked, because then the third parties are a lot less likely to go and happen as we take a look at what Start a Fight is up to. And I'm excited to see what their positioning is going to be. Are they going to stay here for the rest of the game and just continue to craft, or are they going to make their move here somewhere else? Now, we don't have the scan on where zone number 3 is going to be, so if we get an opportunity to pull that up, it's going to give us a little bit more information on what these players are doing.
That is, I think, the thing that I really like about Start a Fight's positioning is that not only do they have that crafter, but they will eventually be able to get that scan on the beacon, given that they've got Matt Pickett on the Valkyrie, and with this high ground, they've also got a really nice rotation into wherever it ends up pulling. So not all is lost for the Start a Fight lads, despite the fact that they are sitting here and stagnating a bit. This momentum that they would have otherwise have is going to be more than made up for by the fact that they'll have a lot more information than all of our other squads.
Yeah, gathering information, absolutely key right here. That's why Aves is just checking every single little angle possible, and got to be careful though, because you're going to be having not only just a team below you, but a team over towards your side. So while he's accounting for every little detail, he needs to go and do the most important thing. That's get back on over towards his team, because, yeah, you're looking to lay some damage down, get that Evo shield charged up to a potential red. At the same time, it's all about getting that scan over towards the next zone like you were talking about. So losing your shields, losing your resources, you can see how important it was for them to continue to share those. They're not interested in that, so they're just going to back off, play that high ground, and have their presence.
Now, Mike and I, they are having another, what I'll call Apex Legends Season 14 special experience where they've spent the majority of the game running, not actually being able to fight anyone. They do have that Maggie to be able to help them out in moving a little bit further, a little bit faster, but running up this hill may actually put them right in line with CLG, who are currently defending the exit from wall on the precipice of this zone close.
Blending in with the trees. Again, very sneaky CLG play coming in from them as we see what ESA is up to. And like you said, it is kind of the specialty of just running around, footing it. You're going to need your snacks. Mike and Ike's going to specialize in that. They're going to have plenty of snacks, especially with Mar and his performance in Dealer Steel. But this is a really important fight that they need to take. Again, cleanly is the key word here. They're checking around to make sure no third parties are coming through. MJ is actually going to fall back over here. And I think this is the right play. They just don't have enough information to take this fight, and they realize there's too many teams in the area.
It's just it's another spot where, while the defense seems good, it's just CLG that are pushing up now, who have taken so much space, and they've still got an angle to rotate in as well. The waterfall over by Cascade is available for the CLG squad, and they don't have to fight this if they don't want, especially because they've got the Seer and Bloodhound combo along with Nano's Horizon to give them not just all of the scans in the world, but also enough mobility to capitalize on any knock they get.
Yeah, this is a ranked team nightmare if you're going up against double scans plus Horizon.
Nano!
But Nano taking a lot of damage from behind. He gets dropped. Not only from the shots, but also the storm ticking away just at the right time as well. Now it's up to Mamba to try to do his best. So the ultimate's going to go down. Mike and Ike now going to start to get a little bit aggressive on this type of situation. Here comes the scans. Are the scans enough to hold them off from chasing into the storm over here? The Searle is a little bit annoying to deal with too, so they're going to have to figure out where that one was placed. Meanwhile, Joey in your kill feed is going to be getting a knock with the PK onto basic, so he continues to pop off with that weapon, and if anything, those spiders are more annoying than anything. Spiders, you know, what's scarier? The spider, are you more of like afraid of the prowlers or the spiders?
I think the prowlers for sure. Those, like, spiders are like annoying because they'll damage you from afar, but anything that really gets up in my face, nah, it's too much for me. The prowlers are terrifying. They are not my cup of tea, but Excedrin, they're not my cup of tea either, because they are indeed up in your face. Coming in for the third party on this fight, we're likely going to see Excedrin walking away with 3 more KP as long as they can play this correctly. Already with the Seer scan and a nice off-angle. Enemy has found 1 and 2 shots to finish Mar off, and Mike and Ike's, we may be saying goodbye to them a little bit earlier than we anticipated. Reload on the wingman's coming through, but the Renegades, they're sneaking up behind this as well.
Yeah, I don't recommend melted Mike and Ike's, because that's exactly what happened right there. Just completely schmelting those guys with the wingman, with the Volt. Nice shots coming in. His enemy's going to go and play cleanup. But Vizio's now on the hunt as well. You can see the flat line, which seems like it just isn't spawning anymore. You don't really see it picked up that much, and it's because of the fact that, I mean, from the patch notes, you don't see what exactly, you know, is replacing it, but when you have other weapons on the ground like the Volt, the Scout, other things become a little bit more popular. Flatline, which was almost a go-to must-have weapon in Season 13, falling a little bit out of style, but it's nice to see someone still using it.
With 4 squads still stacked up in this area, you're going to need a prayer and a whole lot more to get you out here. Excedrin, they commit to the fight on Mike and Ike's, but it is round 3, and we've seen this story before. This zone is going to eat you alive, and the Renegades, they've already given up on that and started moving in to safety. They do find a crack with the Kraber, but I'm keeping an eye on that kill feed because I expect we'll be dropping another squad soon.
Yeah, what's scarier, madness with the Volt or madness with the Kraber? I'm not really trying to go against either one of those, but one thing's for sure, Lee versus Storm, I think the Storm's going to win on this particular round. Protectful, he has to get out of there, and he can't. There goes the Horizon ultimate. That's going to break down the door as well, and a nice little haircut onto the enemy Seer. He's looking for some more. There goes the Dome. And, oh, unfortunate for Madness, he gets flanked from behind, but woo. Looking good with the shots.
It looked really cool, and unfortunately the sandwiches are deadly. CLG on one side and the remainder of Vizio on the other, but it's just a few members there, and CLG are going to make this as difficult as possible on the other side. Excedrin have ended up going out. They were the team that committed onto the low ground. And we'll see what ends up happening to the Vizio members. The Blitz is already on Flash, but they are doing a really good job of keeping CLG out of Command Center.
I want to see a stem into the middle of everybody with a Maggie ball going through, bounce padding past them, 360 Kraber no scope in the face.
I actually, it wouldn't be impossible. Given what we've seen today, I could see it happening. CLG, they're trying their best by eliminating that jump pad to keep it from happening. They're as afraid of Vizio as we are. But on the inside, Vizio have absolutely no intention of doing any of that. Instead, they are going to get to take this zip line up and likely be able to exit over through the north into the ring, I have to imagine. But I'm taking a look at this mini-map, and if they don't get moving soon, this ring's going to kill them as well.
Yeah, it does so much damage over here, and I guess the montage play can be saved for another day out here, but this is the one problem that you have when you have Octane instead of Valkyrie. If you were able to scout or dive out of there, you'd be in a pretty decent position, but instead they're going to have to figure out a different type of rotation. As now ESA being as annoying as possible up on over towards the high ground. You could already see Wheezy, he's not out of there. He's actually in the next zone. He's the one player that they know that that's a safe haven for them. So if they need to fall back, that's where Fury's going to eventually go. Smart play from Fury to constantly be checking over towards the tail end of things and checking his high ground. Nice shots there with the charge rifle. Connecting for about 40 damage overall, and that's going to be Sup coming through with the rotation.
Managing to make it all the way to center zone, and with the Newcastle as well, you hope that it's enough, but there are a lot of angles on Sign Us Please right now, and Synced is barely alive,
nades.
sitting right behind this Newcastle shield. However, rounding the corner right now, Abel is going to be able to take out yet another Newcastle, and Vizio are coming in with the jump pad from above for this fourth party. PK in the hands of Burton. We get the 360 shot there, and the turnaround for another elimination, but they've lost Blitz for right now. He's done his work. He's gotten them padded in, and now he's actually made it into the ring with the riot drill coming through. It's every man for himself, and Sung is taking another fight while Burton heals up.
All right, this is the new meta, apparently. You know, you got the double aggressive movement legends, plus you actually have Song who can just go through and do whatever he wants when he's hitting those scans. He's stealing your armor swaps, he's taking your castle. You have the Maggie ball coming through. They are absolutely wrecking Godfire right now, but Port has to finish this one off with a PK. However, he's getting wingman across from Synced as well, so sign us please, playing spoiler to Vizio's hopes and dreams.
Watch that Arc Star. Blitz has 25 HP and a dream. Somehow he's alive and inside the top 5, and we've still got Newcastle whipping out reses left, right, and center. In comes Blitz again. The Kraber doesn't connect, but the Volt is going to do work as he again is forced to exit. How long can Blitz survive? Can he take out another squad? Sung has gone down. He's thirsted out. The Kraber shot connects onto the Newcastle shield, but Blitz now has absolutely nothing that he can do but pray that somebody steps on this jump pad.
What are we watching right now? Blitz, can he hit the battery? No, he can't. Vizio coming around and getting eliminated, but putting on one heck of a show. Holy cow, that was exciting to watch. Pickett just watching all of that take place, probably scratching his head, wondering what the heck just happened in this corner. He's going to go and get a knock onto Sync, and the lone hope for start a fight is looking strong.
He could actually do this. He could take out yet another squad, putting himself into top 3 as a Rad. We know this zone does not mess around, and it will be Sign Us Please that we say goodbye to, as now Esports Arena, they're the ones looking down and wondering what on earth is happening, because they just saw one kill go down, and now we're into the top 3. We know they have Godfire below them, but do both these squads know that there's a Rat in this game?
Most likely so. I mean, you're going to be able to have, especially for Fury, the knowledge that they need with Seer. So once they realize that Matt Pickett, and actually they don't even need to worry about that because it's going to be handled by Worst. So this is the opportunity that Esports Arena is looking for, a straight up 3-on-3, plus they have the zone and the high ground. Perfect situation for them.
Really couldn't be any better. You could not write a Esports Arena win any differently. Godfire trying to come over the top, but Bin gets lasered, and now everybody's committing onto the low ground. Fury peeling for the rest of his team, does lose Jolly Rancher Steve in the meantime, and Naylus has been able to turn things around. Godfire could usurp this game. They didn't have Godspot, but they do have the drive. Esports Arena still have 2 up, and it's Fury 1v1 for the end of the game, has to reload the Volt, whips out the charge rifle and cannot do it! Godfire from the low ground to take game 5.
The charge rifle coming back to bite. Unfortunate secondary weapon right there, but holy cow, what a game, what a performance. Esports Arena popped off for sure. Matt Pickett showing what he was made of. Vizio going crazy. All in all, it's Godfire getting into zone with that composition, taking their second win of the night.
I'm looking down at the low ground and going, Vizio versus Sign Us Please has to be the highlight of today. Watching them with 3 other squads looking down, just battle it out like there is no one else around, was so incredibly fun to watch.
It really was. We had some crazy moments over here, right? We've had 2 Tridents. One was fortunate for CLG, one unfortunate for Nerf. It's season 14 in a nutshell. It's unexpected. It's wild. If you were watching Apex maybe last year, you would wonder what the heck is going on. There is just so much in terms of the way these players are maneuvering throughout certain legends. I mean, Newcastle adds a whole new layer to everything, right? You have multiple walls that are being used. You have so much aggression that's coming out when you add someone like Seer into the legend pool. But when you give these amazing players an opportunity to not necessarily exploit, but to take advantage of a certain legend's kit, you get some amazing, exciting gameplay.
especially now that Mad Maggie is entering the fray. I really do think that, taking advantage feels like the best usage, because you're getting so many instances where normally it'd be very difficult to third party, where we used to see people like Octane be really successful going, hey, I'm over here and I want to fight over there, so let's go. And people were so afraid of Maggie for so long. With her recent touch-ups, this has become a really attractive and a really stylish pick in these games.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different upgrades to a legend like her and into Newcastle, but then you look at Vizio and they're playing like it's, season 1 out here, or season 4, or whatever season you want to call it. They're being successful on Octane and Bloodhound. So it's really interesting to watch, how they're able to do so. And again, you would never think that Octane was being picked right now and being successful. I think that you said you would even call me a liar. Yeah. I don't lie. I've never lied in my life. That's a lie.
Oh no, hitting us with the wallception again. Tom, we've got one more game to go, one more chance to see if Vizio can top those leaderboards, or whether Tyson or Excedrin even will be able to hold on to answer those questions to see who's on top. We're going to take a short break, see what Yeso has to say, and then come back with Game 6.
2 wins from Excedrin, 2 from Godfire now as they finish off in that final circle. But I feel like my favorite part still, like Dia, has to be all of the chaos there with Vizio and Sign Us Please battling it out all around the castle wall. Ultimately, Vizio falls, but that was a very interesting fight, to say the very least. But let's take a look at our champion squad here for Game 5. It's Godfire on top once again. They pick up another 6 kills in this one. So a nice 18 points here for the squad. And now it's going to be a very fascinating battle going into this final game, because it really has been the Tyson, Godfire, Excedrin show so far today. All 3 of those teams taking all 5 wins so far. And the question is, what kind of gaps have been opened up on that Mobile One leaderboard by these teams, especially Godfire going into this final game? How much breathing room do they have? What kind of opportunity is there for Excedrin, for Tyson, to try and catch up to Godfire? But let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment, and it is the end game here from game number 5. Esports Arena up on the high ground, and this Volt from Fury melting here. But the problem is Jolly Rancher Steve going down first, and now an outnumbered attack here coming from Godfire. They're able to knock 1, able to knock 2 there. But the problem is the most clutch player is still alive, and it's Ben coming in to clean up the 1v2 there from Godfire, and they take the win. And this is so disappointing for Esports Arena, because you feel like you have this win in the bag, right? Jolly Rancher Steve going down early sucks, but with Fury able to step up, get the scan, get the reload on this Volt, and then they just beam both of these players goodbye. And now you just have to win the 2v1, but with no shields up. The health bar is so low here for Esports Arena. Ben is able to clean up the fight and take the win for Godfire. Very clutch turn there from Ben to get that win. And now Godfire feeling really good because of it. We're going to go to a break right now. When we come back, we'll get another look at that Mobile One leaderboard to see where all of our teams stand going into the final game of the day. And then Dia and T Squared will take you into all of the action to close the day. We'll be right back.
Let's go, lads! It's our last game of the day here at Series E Apex Legends. 3 games on World's Edge, 2 on Stormpoint. We're popping into the last one, and the Stormpoint games, T-Squared, they have not disappointed, not by a long shot. Let's take a look at those Mobile 1 leaderboards and see who's in position to take those first and second prized places.
And these teams at the top of the leaderboard have not disappointed at all. I mean, the performances that they've been putting up, remember, Tyson had 40 points after 2 games, so yes, they've slowed down a little bit, but they're holding off Godfire, and that's the most important thing for them going into this final game. The thing is they both have similar playstyles, right? They're looking for some early KP. As soon as they get that scan onto zone number 3, they're out of there and setting up.
And we've seen games like this before where we're ridiculously close, where there's a zone team and an edge team. But in this case, with Tyson and Godfire both, they both love getting the center position. And only separated by 2 points right now. We could easily see Godfire take away that top spot, and we could easily see a team like Vizio even, who are sitting in 4th place with 53 points, trounce both of them with a composition that no one else is running. They've shown us that it works, but now, can it finally win a game?
And they had success with this yesterday, and that's why I feel like they're kind of carried it over today, but it's also seeming to be like comfort picks, right? And that's something that we dove into a little bit. Is it's very refreshing when you're playing at this type of level to play something that you've already felt like you've mastered, that you know like the back of your hand. Some people may not be comfortable, being put in a position where, hey, I got to learn Newcastle and implement that immediately, because it takes a lot of time. You have to play through pubs, you play through ranked, etc., scrims, go through Series E, and then you're able to master that type of legend. But if you can go through and play a legend that you have known very well and continue to do that, that's really what Apex is all about. And with 15 legends in the pool now, or way more than that, we're in a situation now that it's anybody's type of style for any type of play that they want, right? And the only thing that we haven't really seen, we saw Mirage. I'm waiting for Bangalore. I'm waiting for Lifeline. I'm waiting for Wraith. I'm waiting for Pathfinder. We've seen like almost every single legend today.
Yeah, it is really like, just checking those last few boxes is, while the legend pool keeps expanding, we're only going to see teams more comfortable with the extremes of how they're able to use their players and their best play style with that to inform those decisions. It's also worth noting as we pop into this last game that coming back from adversity, coming back from bad RNG is something that Apex Legends is also about, and both Godfire and Excedrin have both experienced that today. 50% of the teams that are in the top 4 right now have had 0-point games at some point today, and to see both of them now be in contention for these top spots is inspiring and really does speak to the caliber of mental game that we have in Series E Pro Night.
Yeah, and you have to think, not only for Series E, but what Apex is all about, and understanding you're not going to win every single game, and you're not going to be able to perform at your highest level every single game too, but what you can do is control how you feel about that. And I think that's key, like you were talking about the mental and going forward, brushing it off, keeping the vibes high. And Godfire, perfect example of that. They start off completely down, 0 points, first team to get eliminated, and now they're 1 game away from being able to take this cash. And I think that the way that they've been playing, I think that this is a team to watch out for. I mean, not only today are they playing good, it's just their style, and I think their style of play is something that other teams need to kind of take note of. It's something that, again, 100 Thieves really implemented. It's that Watson, it's that Newcastle, the zone knowledge, being able to pick that spot. But it's not just picking the spot, it's being able to hold it, putting your interception pylon in the right spot, putting your Newcastle wall down in the right spot, making sure that you have a presence so you're not just getting completely stampeded on. So that all comes down to, great experience of not only getting into these spots, but holding them for quite some time.
That's the comfort that you were talking about, and I know that we've had a lot of roster shuffles. I know that people are very busy with the start of the new season, but it is something that I think we're missing a little bit today from our team Esports Arena, who normally, when running with Phony, actually have such a good understanding of what Newcastle is able to do. That player pops off on Newcastle and is able to change endgame scenarios. We've seen a bit of that today, and I'm hoping that throughout the course of these 6 games against some of the best teams that you can gather, that people are really getting experience for what wall placement especially looks like in these games, because we saw, I think, at least 2 or 3 instances last game of good walls, but not ones that actually enabled the team.
And now we're getting a chance to again look at what legends are being picked, and I'm not expecting anything to really change Scissors, he's locking in Vantage right off the get-go. Tech staying with that fuse. I was expecting more Horizons. I think Valkyrie is right around that pick rate that we were looking at beforehand. But Seer's, still almost like a staple in every single team. But if you're not playing Seer, you need to be playing something else like that Crypto, Watson, Newcastle, etc. to say, all right, we're not going to be looking for fights all the time. We're going to try to stay at home, pick our spot, go from there. And we've seen not only can you pick your spot and be successful with your placement points, you get rewarded with some good kill points along the way too. And I feel like it's a style that can work on both World's Edge and here on Stormpoint.
And we're hoping that gets demonstrated in our final game. We have pulled up pretty far to the north, being both in Checkpoint and in Stormcatcher these past 2 games, where high ground has been really important. But we haven't gotten the zones like those in Fish Farm or Mill just yet, even those in Cascade Falls, where there's a lot more equality in that sense, and that things can, I want to say, shift in the game. Things like Horizon might get a lot less value, so I'm curious as we pop in here what will change and whether we'll see a different flavor of Stormpoint here. Again, shout out to Fizzy for the stats on the pick rates of these legends, as we at least get a little bit of insight as to how people are valuing Newcastle, and it's exactly on point with what you were talking about, Tom. People recognize this legend is good.
I'm over here, not the best mathematician in the world, Dia, but I'm over here like Googling how many different legend combinations we could have. And someone in the chat helped me out here. I came up with 969 different type of combinations that you could have if you had 19 items and 3 selections. That's a lot, and I'm curious to know if that's right and what you guys think of that, because it is so exciting to see the current, not only legend meta, the weapon meta is really fun. Yes, Volt's back on the ground. A lot of people are like, oh man, but I've seen less charge rifles. I think we could all kind of give a round of applause for that. Also, not going to call out ESA, but it was really sweet watching that, bittersweet moment where you take out that charge rifle as your secondary, and if you had any other weapon, I feel like they would have won.
It's the same thing that Exedrum went through as well. We've had 2 players on stream today find themselves with that emotional trauma now that they're carrying forward, and I think that we're gonna see a lot less charge rifle exactly because of that. The teams that aren't already adapting have encountered the situations where it's not ideal, and they'll be changing things up. With Demi, however, his spot is pretty darn ideal. He's got a wingman and a bolt, has already absorbed 2 separate pushes, and is still alive. People are scared of this man, and you can understand why after watching how CLG have played the last couple games, but his team needs his help because Mamba's going low.
And it's Godfire that they're going after. This is huge for a team like Tyson and the rest of these squads that are competing for this particular spot. Using the enemy Newcastle wall to his advantage, and then he just putting on some serious pressure. Wingman, Volt, gold armor. When you're looking at a start, that is so picture perfect for CLG.
With Bin having gone down, we've actually seen a story like this before. I believe it was in game number 4, where Godfire were on the armory, and CLG just waited for them, contesting each other in both this POI and previously when Godfire were finding contests. I believe it was in Harvester also against CLG. Has been a really big problem for both these rosters, but especially for Godfire, who are new to the Series E Pro Knights.
And they've had quite a day so far. Let's see if CLG decides to kind of stick around here, or if they're gonna, do the little bait and switch around the banners. I like the scans coming in from Mamba. Tough situation, Dia. You wonder, do you play this out as a duo, or do you want to go back for that banner? Oh man, I would say play it out as a duo and see how far you can. But at that point, it almost feels like you're playing for second.
Yeah, it really does, right? And you know that you need that win, especially when there are teams like Tyson in the lobby who, again, mirror your playstyle. 2 people isn't going to be enough to hold on to the spot, and you've got to hope that for Nerf 3 is that they're eating Arc Stars, Thermites from above, and Force gets himself a little corner of safety here. But even that, I may have spoken too soon, as he's getting shot from the window, and Turns is struggling. You'd think with this pylon, grenades wouldn't be a problem, but they are ruining Nerf's game right now, as finally that wall comes out, and now you put yourself really far into the corner. Mike and Ike, they're starting to arrive for the third party as well, and we could easily see one of our teams eliminated here, but it hasn't gone quite fast enough, and I do wonder with complexity here whether all three will just disengage and choose to live instead of the KP.
And this is a very interesting spot because everyone wanted to get to this God building where they know that the zone's going to pull and be the finishing area. Meanwhile, Petty Boss gets a knock with the scout right there onto Wiz, and you know, Complexity doesn't care. It's going to be Monsoon taking the most ridiculous angle you've ever seen in your life.
Oh my god, and he even gets the knock with it. Turns has ended up going down, and that's already a kill that you can pick up as who fighting around Antenna right now are fighting against a Mirage, and with a Rampart. This is the legend meta we wanted, T-Squared, and it is coming for all of you, already having found some kills, and with Scissors on the outside, who may just get a few more. Can they escape the black hole? The nades are chunking through Wave. Vize in the Trident is trying to get away, and who are scattered, but they are alive.
Yeah, Season 14 is, in a nutshell over here, is basically, it's Legend Roulette at this point. It's pick at random. You know how you have random weapon skins? Well, we just pick our legends at random, and that's what Season 14 is all about. Playstyles, throw them out the window.
Yeah, at this point, as soon as I saw the Rampart, I was like, all right, well, we're trying new things today, and we'll see exactly how well they go. I'm keeping my eyes on the kill feed, because who aren't out just yet? But Spectre are, and it's Los Demonios who are helping out with that, who have been shunked out again by this squad, and now Los Demonios, having picked up 2 members of who I believe have just left the Rampart alive. So we'll see how much Vize can do as he wields Sheila and is coming right back for his team.
We've seen some highlights here, but we've also seen some lowlights. We'll see what Vize is going to be able to do as Complexity continues to lock down this building, and Monsoon puts a hurting on people with the scout. Big shout out to Bake Shield, who came up with there's 1,540 legend combinations with 22 legends in the current roster. Ooh. You know, that's the type of stuff you love to see, and it's completely relevant to this crazy melting pot of pool that we see in these. I don't even know what to say right now because it's just so ridiculous. We have Rampart coming out again. I am wanting to see Lifeline and Pathfinder. Please take me back. I just want to see one grapple.
Yes, yes. Oh, you're remembering like remember the Wraith, Pathfinder, Watson games, you know, where we'd all sit back and play the height and see what happened. I think what you're talking about with this, you know, sort of melting pot that you've alluded to is sort of Big Bang-esque, right? It's when we introduce this new variable and everything quite literally explodes. We get all of these different combinations, seeing what's viable, seeing what can survive best. And right now, we're standing the test of fire, the test of the universe, at least in Apex Legends. And Vizio, they've been able to do that, as well as disengage from checkpoint pretty darn well, heading up to the north, although I will say out of zone, and with Burton quite low.
It's all connected, but for Borton, it looks like it's going to end pretty soon. He's trying to stay alive as long as possible over here, so he's going to go and pop that med kit. And if there was ever 1 HP, that is 1 HP for sure. That shot didn't go where we were looking at, and Protectful is going to capitalize on this one with the R9. And now it's time to completely dipset, or do you just go for the collat and say, screw it, let's go toe-to-toe? But that's the last team you want to go toe-to-toe with. That's Renegades eliminating Vizio. And unfortunately, their run for them, they were in 4th place before this one started. They are not going to be finishing in the cash. But either way, great performance for them throughout the day. We'll find out who's going to be able to take this game. And right now, Complexity has been doing Complexity things. They won an early fight over here. Monsoon's been absolutely popping off. This is a little bit of a different situation, though, now, because you have Retzi on this Watson, and instead of having a building that has a lot of different entry points and places that you have to go and watch, this is an actual sturdy place to go and hold. Multiple armor swaps, plenty of time to talk about what you want to do, and Monsoon's not going to be fooled. He's like, guys, watch through this little AC spot. You could actually kill people through there. I've already done it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what really scares me about these buildings, honestly, is like, as solid as they are, the amount of weird angles that I've seen people take on them. Valkyries out the window, like you're talking about the AC vent. But Complexity, for the most part, are comfortable holding it because they've already got so much setup given to them from other teams, and now with the Watson Newcastle have the additional walls that they can play around. Start a fight, however, they won't be playing inside a building. As while they did land on one, they've opted for another power spot up on top of this ridge. We've seen a lot of teams be able to gatekeep effectively from here, and they do have the guns to do so, especially with the long-range burst of the Hemlock.
Yeah, the Hemlocks continues to be an underrated weapon. I mean, the 2.4, the 2, the 3x on that thing, all very, very viable scopes. I mean, when you're looking to use the Hemlock, you're not looking for like a red dot or, you know, any type of hollow scope as Intel gets eliminated. Just give a little round of applause for Spirits and the Intel squad coming out, putting up a performance, and that's how you get rewarded here in Series E. You get Fearless crouching on your box.
Yeah, you know, they know what's going on, right? Los Demonios, they've been around Series E for a while, right? These individual players, and every once in a while you got to give the staff members some love. Because Intel did have, actually, you know, all things considered, going out in 16th, not bad when it's a pro night.
They picked up some points, honestly.
Yeah.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. For CLG, things could be going a little bit better, but having taken away this high ground from start a fight, I think you're pretty darn happy. Aves actually getting taken out in that exchange is really nice for the CLG lads, as they've got another squad in their sights. And being able to use this height may just net them a few additional KP on a nicely timed third party, but they don't have Bloodhound ult.
Just realized that the cereal kind of gives like Epcot Disney World vibes if it was, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of got that. It's kind of got that look of that, you know, type of style, the way that it's designed. But I'm also wondering who designs these buildings, because what Psycho has an AC in the building with giant holes everywhere and the windows open? Who's paying the bills around here?
Probably the same person that gave Nano a controller and unleashed this psychopath upon the world. He does go down, but he deals like 300 damage to Los Demonios in a second. And who? They're alive. Remember when we asked what Vize could do? Vize apparently can pick up the banner of Scissors, get him rezzed, and yeah, like you said, now dead, unfortunately, but hey.
Well, you know, sometimes you gotta sacrifice yourself. And Scissors, what kind of teammate gets rezzed back in, doesn't risk his life? This is an obvious pickup, bro. There's no way all three of those players are gonna look at you, right?
I both want him to go for this res, and I also want him to go off the grab cannon to see whether you can jump to Echo mid-flight on the grab cannon. Because I feel like there's tech there that we haven't innovated on just yet. Esports Arena, they're innovating for sure, innovating in the push as they eviscerate a squad from 3 different angles. Fury still hasn't gone down, and with the speed up of this Mad Maggie, they kind of got their dancing shoes on. Esports Arena didn't make it look that hard.
Really nicely done. It's easier when you don't have a charge rifle as a secondary inside of those buildings. R301 Volt for Fury looking very strong. Now Complexity is maneuvered out of the building into a little safe haven of the down beast area. Some pings going down over towards the backhand side. They recognize this team isn't playing Watson, so it could be their time to push. And look at the slow but calm push coming in for Complexity. They understand the situation. The shots are landing. Only one more, and that player is going to go down. How is that Horizon alive?
I have no idea. It feels illegal to see, but having gotten away with it, they're actually backing off. Exedrin, our third-place team of the day, was eliminated, which leaves Tyson and Godfire both very comfortably in first and second place so far. And speaking of Tyson, we're going to get the chance to see whether they can make that even more comfortable. Currently in the lead by 2 points. They could expand that quite a bit since they've already found a knock onto Gas Station Gaming.
And Tyson's been so darn good all throughout the day. I believe this is the same composition that they were rocking on World's Edge too. So talk about, you know, mastering what the meta is and the way that they want to play their style. It's not going to really switch if you're not changing which legends you're on. And I love the way that, again, Z Davis has been so aggressive, even on these support type of legends. Joey, he's always had the PK in his back pocket. And they're even kind of discussing with one another, like, where do we put this? We don't really quite know yet, and that's what's so fun to watch. These pro players, it seems like they have everything figured out, but they're still figuring things out along the way as well.
CLG were watching another squad do the same before they realized that Gas Station Gaming was below them, and with triple reds and only 4 kills, CLG have not only been dealing some damage, but also finding some really nice third-party timings, apparently. They are coming around the back of some Watson fences, but with the fights that we just saw happen in front of them, and with Mamba already finding a nice angle, we could see CLG do some really nice things, but they do have to keep going up north towards down B.
Big fight happening. The Prowler, nice shots coming through from Tempest. Fences on top of fences over here, but a minute and 30 seconds, they are going to have to make a rotation out. So most likely going to have to take this fight while doing it cleanly. Not getting third party is going to be the key. So Sync's recognizing the situation, going to go and pop that battery, a little bait and switch with Tempest. That's going to be Dalton going down, and Noxious getting eliminated in 11th place. That's what you need to do when you have to make your rotations. There's no way in heck that team's going to let you skyward dive or foot your way over towards the zone. You have to take them out eventually, and that's what they did. We also get the answer to our question of do you go for that banner, or do you just play it out as a duo? It looks like Godfire electing to play it out as a duo.
Sitting in second right now. The fact they've been able to survive to top 10 has gotten them some placement points. Who not so lucky as with a single shot, Madness ends up taking out Scissors. The Kraber doing enough work to whittle us down to the top 9 squads and leave Renegades in the ideal position on top of downed Beast with a Kraber and a Bolt, triple red shields. I don't think Renegades could have asked for anything else.
Hey, don't jinx it. You know, that's their specialty over here. ESA had the same situation previously. And, you know, when you look at the way that Madness has played today, you'd be like, these guys are 1,000% in first place. It's also a little funny that Scissors was playing on Vantage and he gets eliminated with a sniper rifle. I thought that was, you know, kind of interesting. But
poetic justice.
Yeah, poetic justice there. As triple reds, like you said, on top of down Beast, they're going to be feeling good. ESA second place in the previous game. They're posted inside of a building. You look at a lot of these spots and you're like, oh, we're feeling pretty comfortable, but only one team's going to win this one. I mean, you got to get to the high ground, and that's exactly what Renegades was thinking. Rollers, he gets dropped right there. CLG going to continue to put in some serious work. This is the scariest team in the lobby right now because they know that they need points, so they're going to be taking a lot of fights.
They've managed to really nicely secure a lot of kills as well, already having picked up 6, and with Godfire out, second place has opened up real nicely for CLG to slide in. EMP gets stopped, actually, and that buys them even more space. The ring does the rest as CLG get taken down by Renegades and Tyson.
That was just an explosive bomb on top of them. Absolutely insane. Arc stars, missile swarms, zone, Kraber shots. There's really nothing CLG could have done right there. Tough break for them. Also, you mentioned Godfire eliminated. This is now Tyson's game, so let's see if we can kind of scroll through and find out what they're up to, because I've kind of lost track what their current positioning is going to be, as Madness is kind of posturing around, and there's Tyson right now sitting in first place, potentially being able to take this one down if they can just secure a couple more points. Now, we're not quite sure exactly how many points Godfire walked away with, but that was the team on their heels. We know Vizio was eliminated as well, so this is a great opportunity for them to secure first place.
I really like this spot from Tyson as well. They've got a lot of cover, and inside down to Beach, they should be able to avoid a lot of fire, especially because they have that Newcastle to buy them a nice position when they are eventually forced to exit. They're even setting up the shield swaps to be able to poke out here. That's how confident Tyson are playing right now. And in the top 6, in that first place, you understand why. So many teams, though, chomping at the bit to take this away from them, to be able to clutch up their own second place finish. Tyson cannot give any ground right now.
Madness with the Volt in hand. We asked what's scarier, with him with the Volt or the Kraber? All right, how about both? He's got both now, so the lobby should be shaking a little bit. There is one rat somewhere, and we'll see if Renegades is going to be the team to go and spot that one. No one got the memo to shoot the giant ball that's going to take away half of our shields and slow us right there besides Madness, but he's okay with it, just popping a battery and acting like nothing happened over here. But they will have to eventually make some sort of move, and that's when they go and do it. Madness going to drop down. He's full sending.
Oh my god. All right, well, if anybody's going to do it, I suppose I wouldn't I wouldn't want anybody but Madness to. They have found that rat that you were talking about earlier. They know exactly what's going on, but there is very little to do right now. It seems like the Ring is going to be taking out Mike and Ike. They've still got the Horizon Ultimate to work with as well, but Esports Arena, they're doing a lot more work than the Ring is, taking out Complexity and whittling us down to the top 4. That's before we've even lost this Horizon, before we've even lost all of Mike and Ike's, but not before Renegades have given up the top and instead usurped this position with a lot of natural cover.
I feel like Complexity can take today as a huge learning experience, though, as we take a look at what Renegades is up to. Think about all the times that Complexity was forced to be in a position and hold it for a long time. They weren't very successful. Anytime they were kind of able to be let free and off of a leash, they were able to run around and do some amazing work. So if I'm Complexity, I'm saying, all right, you know what? We're right there. We have so much to look forward to. All we got to do is let ourselves loose a little bit more.
The decisive push from Renegades has opened things up, and Tyson come in for that third party. Renegades lose 2 and are likely to lose their third as Madness try as he might cannot clutch up against 3. We're into the top 2 squads, and now Tyson and Esports Arena are going to face off with Esports Arena already finding a really nice riot drill. We've got 1 down, we've got 2 down, and we've got an Esports Arena win to take us away in the 6th game of the day.
They wanted revenge, and they got the revenge. That could have been back-to-back wins for them, but hey, 1 out of 6, that's not bad. Plus the 2nd place previously, putting in some serious work right there. They charged at the perfect time. You saw some amazing plays out of Wheezy out of here, making just the timing on the Maggie push has been out of this world from a lot of our teams, but it doesn't get any picture perfect than that. Anytime that they needed to go and capitalize on maybe an armor swap or them reloading, that was the time that they went and made their push, rewarded with that first place as they should be. That angle from Monsoon was dirty.
It really was. We saw so many just disgusting plays throughout not just this game, but all of today. Who definitely giving us some of them with the Sheila play, and the constant, by the way, Vantage innovation, despite the fact that this wasn't working for Who. I can appreciate they had a lot of confidence in this and still went for it despite the fact that things weren't working out initially. Nano unleashed with the PK was a nice treat to watch as well, so honestly, can't complain. Cannot complain.
So exciting to watch how things kind of transpired today. This was a big fight for ESA earlier, the way that they were able, again, push through over here, not lose one player, not get knocked again. Super key. The explosive play from CLG was the explosion that took them down. You can see right there just an arc star from Joey putting in some serious damage. Pow! There with the missile swarm, even though the missile swarm still nerfed a very viable option in terms of being able to take down players who are in cover. It doesn't really slow you anymore. It doesn't do as much aerial damage as it used to, but it's still a very, very powerful tool in the kit. And it was nice to see just kind of the variety that we had today, right? It wasn't like one legend was picked too much. It wasn't like one legend was picked enough, except for the legends that I mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. I think in seeing this nice sort of resurgence of innovation, of teams trying new things, we even had some swapping around their compositions. We saw, especially Bloodhound, I think, being the one that got taken in and out as teams tried to experiment with different things. It's been an amazing day of Series E Pro Night, and I couldn't have picked anyone better to be alongside me to break things down. But we are also blessed with Yeso on the desk, so let's hear from him as to how tonight wrapped up.
So fitting that we get to the end of tonight, and the final 2 is a battle between Team Esports Arena and Team Tyson, because if you go back to last Tuesday, those 2 teams duked it out again. Wasn't at the end of a game, though, because it was Tyson in the lead going into Game 6 last Tuesday, and Esports Arena snatched the victory away from them. They eliminated them early in the game and got the big win in Game 6 to jump into first place. And while Esports Arena do grab the win here in Game 6, I don't think it was enough to knock Tyson out of their top spot, but they still had a great showing here to close the day. 9 kills for the team here. Of course, a couple of subs coming in there to assist Fury in the effort, so Esports Arena ending on a high note. Let's check out, though, our final Mobile One high performance moment here of tonight's competition. And of course, it's the end game. And this is such a wonderful push here from Tyson. They've laid down so much utility. They're wreaking so much havoc on this Renegade squad, and then it's just a very clean push. I will say, the scout shots here, not the cleanest, some nice side steps there from Madness to make Oxy work for it, but regardless, Tyson cleaned up the fight. But the problem is the response from Esports Arena, so quick, so decisive, and they just come in and they absolutely wipe out Tyson. Nice little jump shot there with the EVA 8 to close it out, but this is really well executed pushes from both teams. Tyson does a great job of immediately following up the crypto ult. They take out the generator from the Watson and wipe out Tyson here. And then Esports Arena responding in kind. They see those knocks. They know they have the opportunity for the third party. They immediately come sliding right in here and wipe out Tyson. That Newcastle tactical, not enough to protect Joey and the squad, and Esports Arena clean up for the win. Let's take a look, though, at our final Mobile One leaderboard here for tonight's competition. Godfire going out way too early in this final game to have a chance to chase down Tyson, and that gives Tyson a big win. 14 points ahead of second place. They finish at 75 points overall. A huge victory for the squad as they continue to try and claw their way up the leaderboard here overall. And we should take a look at that. Let's take a look at our overall leaderboard here in Series E, because we've been talking about it through the night. Excedrin trying to close the gap here with Intel, and not only do they do that, but Vizio jumps ahead. They jump into first place. Excedrin were hoping to claim it for themselves, but Intel fall to third. Vizio jumps back to first, the first time they've been in that position since, I believe, the start of week 3 of the season. Remember, they came out blazing hot in our first couple of open nights, but they cooled off quite a bit. But Vizio has returned to form here over the last few weeks. And look at that competition. Just 610 points in 5th place. That's a 48-point gap between 1st and 5th place. 5 teams in the heat of the competition for a Series E championship here in Season 5, and that's only going to continue when we come back next week for all of the fun. That is going to be it for tonight, though. Congratulations to Team Tyson. Well played from the squad all throughout tonight. They were consistent, and that's why, despite only winning a single game, they are so damn good all throughout all 6 games tonight, and they grab a big win. A reminder, we're back with Guilty Gear Strive tomorrow. If you are a big Guilty Gear Strive fan, you'll be happy to know Bridget is legal tomorrow, so we may see some Bridget play in tomorrow night's bracket. Of course, you'll see the EVO champion there. A lot of great talent from all across the country coming to compete, so don't miss out on that. We'll have plenty to talk about there. Halo on Friday, of course, and series recap to tie it all up in a nice little bow this weekend. That's going to do it for us here, though. Mike and Ike Week continues tomorrow night. Make sure to get in on the giveaway, and I'll see you tomorrow. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again next time.